With the 20th pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Jaden Quaintance from the University of Kentucky.
With the 41st pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Miami Heat select Otega Oweh from the University of Kentucky.
Just want to give a huge congratulations for Jaden Quaintance being drafted 20th by the San Antonio Spurs. I think that's a great landing spot for JQ, considering there was a lot of speculation that he would fall out of the first round the day before the draft. So congratulations to him, and also congratulations to Otega Oweh, who was drafted by the Miami Heat and then was traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So Quaintance is going to be joining Keldon Johnson, De'Aaron Fox, and you got Oweh, who's going to be joining Cason Wallace and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So hats off to those guys, and a huge congratulations to them as they embark on their NBA journey.
Preview.
Oh, sorry, I fell asleep waiting for another Mark Pope commitment. Welcome to the Stay Hot podcast. I am your host, Patrick Kelch.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support. Big Blue Nation continues to show up and show out. Not to mention
Small town roads, big dreams, gym floor scars, blue seams. I come from where they keep score. Real coach, real talk, real war.
Stay Hot podcast. I am your host, Patrick Kelch. Welcome to another show, another edition of the Stay Hot podcast. It's been a while. I've been working behind the scenes, trying to make these shows a little bit better, trying to come up with some ideas and things, and that's what I've been doing behind the scenes. Now that the KHSAA has mandated it's been mandated, but the mandated dead period goes into effect tonight at midnight and goes all the way through July 10th, I believe, or all the way through July 9th. So I plan on doing a lot more shows. Like I said, I'm expecting what I ordered to come in tomorrow, and I'm excited for you guys to see what I put together. Going to start our own little Stay Hot collection. You'll see what I'm talking about. I don't want to talk about it until they actually come in. Sorry, I hadn't had my microphone. Hopefully it's a little bit better. I guess I said Siri. Siri started speaking to me. But with the KHSAA dead period now in effect, I plan on going back to the three shows a week. It's just, a lot of times when there's not a lot going on, it's hard to find content. I don't like getting on here and just rambling on and talking about things that rambling on like I am now, because trying to think of what I wanted to say. But once again, thank you guys for continuing to show up. Our numbers continue to look good. We're still getting quite a few views per show, so that's always exciting and always makes you want to come on and do more shows. So those of you that come here week after week, day after day, I appreciate you guys more than you know. You know that if you want to support the show, I got a Venmo in my top left-hand corner. If you can't figure out the membership, you can always hit the Venmo. Membership, super chats, all those things that you can do help support this show. I'd like to get some new members tonight, new subscribers. I think I got 10 or 11 new subscribers last show, so that tells me we're getting out there to more and more people, which is great. So thank you guys for continuing to come back. Also, on my top right-hand corner, 14K Sports Media, a huge sponsor of me, a huge supporter of me. They got a lot of great things coming on for this upcoming high school basketball season. So go to Facebook and give them a like, 14K Sports Media. I'm going to be doing a lot with them, working with them, trying to get some things going up. And just high school basketball in general needs promotion. These athletes work too hard not to be promoted. So, huge shout out to 14K Productions, or Sports Media, I should say, Sports Media Productions, 14K. Also, once again, if you didn't see the beginning of the show, huge shout out to Quaintance for getting drafted 20th by the Spurs, and a huge shout out to Otega Owe, drafted by the Heat and was soon traded to Oklahoma City Thunder. Talk about those two a little bit. I worry about Quaintance. You know, it shows a lot about what the Spurs think of his athleticism and his ability to rim protect, to draft him at 20 after only playing 4 games last year. But it does concern me. His injuries do concern me. He's going to have to go under the scope, I think, and do some kind of clean out of his knee, and could be sidelined a few more months. Some are potentially saying he could miss a little bit of the regular season. I think they're going to take it slow with Quaintance. That's why I think the Spurs are a good fit for him, because they don't have to do anything way too fast. If he can get healthy, I can see him being a very solid rim protector. But what scares me is, he doesn't have much of an offensive game, whether face up or back to the basket. He's going to have to work extremely hard, I think, in order to stay in the league. So I'm glad he's in San Antonio. They made it to the finals this year, so obviously their roster, I'm not going to say set, but they have a lot of pieces where they don't have to rush JQ back. And honestly, I think Otega Owe, the same thing. He's in a very good spot with Oklahoma City Thunder. I know the Miami Heat drafted him. However, he was then traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. We're going to get a good look at him in the summer league. I think he's going to get a lot of action, a lot of reps. He's got the work ethic to succeed in the NBA. He's got the downhill ability, the ability to attack the basket. I worry about his shot-making ability. He seems to miss them around the rim at times. His three-point shot isn't the most reliable. But, Oklahoma City's not going to get a harder worker or somebody who puts the time in like Otega Owe. And what this does to me is, I think this kind of shows you that coming back to college that extra year has paid off. I'm not so sure he would have got drafted last year if he would have went to the NBA draft after last season. He decides to come back, gets probably made more money in NIL last year than what his contract's going to be with the Oklahoma City Thunder, because he doesn't get any guaranteed money being a second-round pick. Also, I think of and I put this on Twitter earlier, so if you follow me on Twitter, I kind of compare, Owe comes back for his second year at Kentucky, has a mediocre year to start, picks up a little bit in conference play, didn't really have the same year he had the first year at Kentucky. You can you can speculate as to why that is, but the one thing that I like the most about it is, I think it kind of rewards those guys come back, put in their time, work hard, grow their game to where they're drafted. Malik Thomas from Arkansas, a freshman, had a great freshman campaign at Arkansas. He's a sniper, shoots the ball well. I think his game grew a little bit where he's attacking the basket. However, he decided to go pro after his freshman year, and he slips all the way through the first round and gets drafted maybe 32nd or 33rd. I'm not real sure, but he's the second or third pick in the second round. So, I feel like him, and that Isaiah Evans from Duke's the same way. The last time I checked, that center from North Carolina, that Enrique Vesser, hadn't been drafted yet. I'm not for sure if that's the case now since the show has started. But, all those guys decided to forego their college eligibility and then don't get drafted in the first round when they could have come back to college and probably made a pretty substantial NIL package, which I know is going to be a lot more money than what those three are going to make playing a lot of G League basketball this upcoming year. I think Malik Thomas does have a good chance to be a good pro, but I'm excited about Owe, and I'm excited about JQ. If JQ can get healthy, I mean, Spurs aren't going to have any better rim protection than him and Wemby back there. But I also hope that it doesn't turn into a situation where this knee injury lingers. They say he'll be back stronger than ever if he decides to, after he has his surgery. The bad news is that it's obviously going to take 3 or 4 months recovery time. And then the good news is he shouldn't have any issues coming back. So that's good news for JQ. And I think it was kind of good spots, I should say. I'd like to see Noe go first round, but I'm not so sure he's a first round talent. But they both got drafted in good spots where they have time to develop and grow. Hey, Jennifer, how are you? Thanks for stopping by tonight. Appreciate it. Also, shout out to Brian. Brian knows what it's like. He's a member. I'm waiting for old Wildcat of the Mountains to join the membership. But I'll get to the chat here in a second, answer some of those questions. I will tell you that former Cat Bryce Hopkins just got drafted by the Nuggets at number 49. So congratulations to Bryce. I thought he had a really good year at Providence and then last year at St. John's. So former Cats everywhere in the draft. So congratulations to those guys. The other, some other big news this week was, I thought it was kind of telling. Dusty May leaves Michigan to coach the Mavs. And why do we have interest in that? Because of Nikola Kusturica. But what was funny is it came out, and I think Jack Pilgrim had stated, or somebody had stated, that there'd been some negative recruiting pitches from Dusty May to Nikola, basically saying that, why would you consider Kentucky? There's a good chance Pope won't even be there 2 years from now, which I think is just blatantly dirty. I know probably all universities do it. They probably all do the kind of I don't know. I just don't like that negative recruiting. It's almost like when you're in a campaign, like the dirty politics, things like that, win on your name, win on your merit. But I'm sure all universities do it. But, and this is going to be kind of hard to read, but this is from Jack Pilgrim, basically kind of giving you, there's not been an update on Nikola in the past couple of days. And they usually say it's, the kind of the calm before the storm. But maybe here, if I don't make my screen big, I won't freeze. But he's basically just says that a leak, if you remember when, Travis Branham came out and predicted a crystal ball for Kusturica, predicted him to come to Kentucky. He said basically it was a leak used to drive up his price. Like the international agents seem to have caught on to this NIL game pretty well. It's like, we're going to put Kentucky, this kind of just proves to you and proves to everybody that Kentucky still moves the needle. Because, how many times we saw it with Rob Wright, Donnie Freeman, a lot of these guys, and I was real disappointed in the Rob Wright interview to basically saying that he just basically used Kentucky. And we had known that already because it already come out. But this is kind of the same situation to where, when Branham had leaked, or not leaked, but put in his crystal ball, that was basically just somebody saying, he was leaning towards Kentucky, or he thought he was going to Kentucky. And Branham only gave it a 7, which is still high probability, but still, in this article, it's on the Insider. If you do the Insider, but I will tell you this: Kentucky is still in the mix. I'm not so sure that the I don't know if the movement, but the thing that I kind of thought was funny and where I was going with this was, Dusty May negatively recruited or negatively spoke of Pope and Kentucky, saying that he may not even be there in 2 years. Why would you want to go to Kentucky? Pope may not be the coach, blah, blah, blah. And then he up and goes to the Dallas Mavericks. Now, as a college coach, if that's your dream as a coach in the NBA, Dusty May just winning a national championship, that was probably something he couldn't pass up. And I'm not blaming Dusty May for that. But what I'm saying is, if that's a possibility to where you may be jumping ship, then you don't need to be speaking on anybody else's name saying that they're not going to be there. But, I'll go back up here now that I'm just now getting to some of these questions. Keeper A, what's up, man? I know it's been a while. I've been doing some work behind the scenes, just trying to get some of these shows, some future shows. The summer months are kind of hard because if not a lot happens, you don't really have a lot to talk about. The show we did on UK football didn't do as well as UK basketball. I will start getting hot and heavy into UK football because what Stein's doing is remarkable. Flipped a recruit from Louisville this week. Fryman, I believe his name is Tyler Fryman, up here in my parts, Beechwood. Beechwood is a Class A powerhouse. But, he was, if people don't know this, he was going to Louisville to play baseball. So he hasn't announced Kentucky yet, I don't think, but all signs are pointing to Kentucky. Everybody I've seen have him going there. So I will get into some football once we kind of get through this summer month here of basketball. And, I will get into football. So don't think that I'm just totally neglecting football. But right now it seems like everybody wants to talk about Kentucky basketball. Everybody's excited. But you know what? I'm going to get on my little soapbox here now. And one of them, and I have not seen him in here tonight, and maybe he'll catch it on the what's up, Angel? What's up? But as soon as Travis Branham removed his crystal ball, things got a little silent. Michigan, UCLA came into the picture, and we're going to get, and John Boy, that's usually in our chat here. He posted something already, said he's tired of missing out on all these recruits. How can you say that after the roster that Mark Pope has assembled? How can you say, and John Boy, I know you might see this, and and I told you this on Twitter, but how can you say you're tired of him missing out on all these recruits? Look at the roster he's assembled. After April, in the month of April, we were on him because he didn't sign nobody. And now he's got a top 15 roster, I would say. So I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of that at all. And you just got to be patient in the recruiting game because a lot of the stuff you see and read on Twitter isn't even true. And who's the only people that know what's true? The people that are involved in the recruitment. And I saw somebody mention up here about Elijah. I've seen Elijah a lot on Twitter. I don't know his reputation. I know he's not been a right 100% of the time, but who is? Who is a right 100% of the time? Nobody. Travis Branham is one of the best ones, and he just rescinded a crystal ball. So if he says that Mark Pope, Mo Williams, and another coach went and visited with Nicola Costa Rica, I have no reason to discredit that or not believe that. I would think that if he knows it, it would be out there somewhere else on Twitter, and I've not seen that. So he may have some sources that, may be further involved with the team. I'm not 100% sure. But I just don't like, just the how can you be so negative after what Mark Pope has done? How can you be negative to the fact that how can you be just a week or two ago, we just signed the number one player in the portal, Milan Momcilovic. And, before that, we've look at the people we've signed. I don't get it. I don't get it how your first initial response can be just because, hey, he's not committed anywhere. So technically we've not lost anybody. There's John Boy right there. So technically, we've not lost anybody, you know? Now, when he commits to, I mean, here's the thing. I won't be upset if he goes to UCLA because UCLA is just going to drift off into mediocrity. They're not a threat to us. They're not a threat whatsoever. So he may still, I mean, Michigan did what they should have done. They hired the interim coach, Mike Boynton, I think. Somebody that's probably been in the recruitment. UCLA also has 2 Serbians on staff. You know, he probably feels some sort of a home connection there. But if he wants to go somewhere and compete for minutes to make him better, if he wants to go somewhere where he can compete for a Final Four, he's going to Kentucky. But this day and age, you never know with NIL because some people go just where the money's at. But I promise you, UCLA, Michigan, those guys can't offer any more money than what Kentucky's going to offer. And not only offer that money, but also you get, you know, if you come to Kentucky, you see the way past Kentuckians, past athletes are treated. They're treated like they're celebrities, like they're I don't know. It's just like there's no other place that you can go where fans are going to be in. Now it can be a negative thing too, where fans are involved with you or whatever, but fans are going to love you, support you, and kind of, you know, I guarantee you UCLA don't sell out arenas on the road and don't hear go Big Blue chants or go UCLA or whatever in a hostile arena in conference. Now, Michigan just winning a national championship. You know, that is something that, you know, maybe looks appealing. But this is a good point too. And I'm sure, you know, these guys are in a totally different tax bracket than what you or I are in, I'm sure. Well, I don't know your all's financial situation, but, you know, definitely something they need to take a look at. But shout out to Pepsi. But, you know, the one thing we should have learned this year, I think, in recruiting is you can't believe half of what you see or read on the internet. You almost have to wait till you get a post from one of the national guys that know what's going on, that know that have a lot more intel than, you know, some guy on TikTok. You know, I don't remember that guy's name on TikTok that went wild and crazy. But the BBN dark web has struck again, Todd. Struck again. Sending out leaks to guys committing. But, you know, I'm sticking by my statement. If he wants to win and have a chance to play on a national stage every night, he comes to Kentucky. If he wants to drift off into mediocrity, he goes to UCLA. There were some rumors out there that he might stay in Barcelona for one more year and then come over and play college basketball. Jack Pilgrim doesn't think that's the case. He said it's about an 85% chance that he plays college basketball this year. And the good thing about him is he can't go pro till 28. So whoever he goes to will have him for 2 years. Also, they're saying the part with Kentucky is something about the back end. Something about the back end of the second-year contract or something. I'm not real sure what the second year, you know, what it is. However, there's something about I don't know why I'm glitching like that. Okay, I got it now. But honestly, there's not been a lot of news about him the last couple of days. I just searched Twitter just a second ago to kind of see. And if you remember, it's kind of like before somebody commits, it gets really, really quiet. So, he may want to meet with Mike Boynton, who's the interim coach at Michigan. I hear they're I've not seen where Crash hasn't been on the show the last couple of weeks. I don't know if for something with his work schedule. I don't know if he's mad at me. I don't know if he just doesn't like the show anymore. I'm not real sure. I do miss Crash. He usually has some good insight. If Holly gets on here later or whatever, Holly has connections with Crash. We can ask her. But, I'm not going to concede, or I'm not going to wave the white flag on Nikola Costa Rica yet. We have one roster spot. We have 14 on the roster. We have 15 spots. So whether it's him or somebody else, I still like our team. I like what Pope has assembled. A lot of positive stuff coming out from week 1 at practice. We'll go over here in a minute. But, seems like John Boy's been listening to Elijah too. I can't, I don't want to speculate on that, John. I don't really know. I do know that Elijah does put out a lot of information, a lot of predictions, just like anybody else, some right, some wrong. I think he does have a connection or an inside source somewhere or another. I have no reason to not believe him when he says that Coach Pope, Mo Williams, and somebody else went and visited him. So I have no reason not to believe that. No, but it should be. But, at this time when you're getting people like this, or when you're recruiting like this, there's going to be a lot of information out there. It's going to be information, misinformation, people purposely leading you to believe something that isn't true. Larry thinks if Kentucky wants him bad enough, they'll get him. It's really that simple. I agree with Larry in most cases. I don't know, don't really know this kid, don't know a lot about this kid. He kind of just came on the scene, didn't hear nothing about him till Kentucky was in on him. And now that Kentucky was in on him, now you see Michigan. Some people say Duke. I don't think Duke even has the roster spot for him this year. That's not to say they're not working up something after year 1, because he has to play college 2 years. But, when UCLA has 2 Serbians on staff, that's got to appeal to him. Michigan just won a national championship. I don't think we're going to see the same Michigan team that we just saw. But it's anytime you lose your head coach like Dusty May, whether you're bringing the interim in or not, you're going to drop a little bit. You're going to fall back. They have said that there's some legs or smoke behind Calipari to Michigan. Don't know, don't really care. But I'd be shocked if they don't go out and try to find somebody other than Mike Boynton. Maybe let me think, Billy Donovan. I hear his name quite a bit. Well, that wasn't a very good toss. Billy Donovan's name's mentioned quite a bit. There's been a few national media guys saying that, Cal, although I think Michigan would be a good landing spot for Cal, but I don't know how well Cal wants to, move again, or, he seems to stay in places for a while, but who knows? But I guess all that to say, there hasn't been much information either way since Dusty May announced his move to the Dallas Mavericks. Dusty May has now joined We've got Rob Wright, Pat Kelsey, Dusty May have now become they're on my list of public enemies. Pat Kelsey for no other reason than being the Louisville coach. Rob Wright just for flat out screwing Kentucky to get himself more money. I'm just not a big fan of him. And now Dusty May for negatively recruiting against Mark Pope, and then Bolton to Dallas. So those are my three public enemies right now. Also came out this week is the Kentucky basketball SEC schedule. I can't see the comments right now because I've made the screen bigger. If you're commenting something, I'll check comments here in a minute. But, we always play Tennessee and Vanderbilt twice. The third team we're playing this year is Ole Miss. We play them home and away. It was speculated that there was some push for Kentucky for where Ole Miss is to be Arkansas. A lot of people wanted that draw of Kentucky and Arkansas twice, home and away. But, this schedule looks really good to me because a lot of the teams that are in the upper echelon of the SEC, we get at home, Alabama, Arkansas. A&M's usually not bad. But, we're still going to have to go to Gainesville. That's not going to be easy. There is no easy games in the SEC. Let's just put it like that. But, screenshot this or whatever if you want to know the schedule. This is just conference schedule, as you know. But Kentucky's going to get Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and Ole Miss twice. At home, they get Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, LSU, South Carolina, and Texas A&M. Then on the road, they'll go to Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas, which I do know that Texas has a pretty good pretty good setup, I think, for the most part. I definitely think Ole Miss, that's a team that going on the road doesn't scare me with our roster. So with this roster right here, you're looking at, 18 games in conference. So this is what you have. He definitely has I would probably go tablespoon. There's been multiple reports come out that Kentucky isn't the only team that Dusty May's done this to as far as the negative recruiting. But this is kind of what I said a little bit earlier, Larry. I agree. If you want the most money and you want to play on a national stage every game, you'll go to Kentucky. If you want to be mediocre, go to UCLA. Yeah, Donovan's names will come open. I mean, you're going to hear his name a lot with every open job. I said tablespoon, but yeah, I agree. Kind of like a, Todd Golden, arrogant. I don't think Dusty May was ever arrogant, cocky, but now that he's won a national championship, it seems like it's grown, which, may be good reason. Yeah, 4 7-footers. Yeah. Milan's not a 7-footer. Milan's only like 6'8", isn't he? There's Crash. Uh-oh, there he is. Where you been, my man? Where you been? I thought you gave up on me. I thought you quit. But glad you're here, buddy. Thanks for showing up. 7-footers, we got Marino. I think Usman's like 6'11". You got Reese Potter, who's like 7'1". Momchilovich is only like 6'8", isn't he? He's not that big. Who do you got, Josh, as our 4 7-footers? I might be missing somebody. SEC games, 18. I'm going to go 12-6, 13-5. 12-6, 13-5. I'd love for us to win, kind of go 9-0 at home, but I just don't. I mean, this day and age, it's just so hard. Rupp Arena doesn't have the same mystique and feel. There you go, Jennifer. Crash is back. Crash is going to give us the lowdown. McBride is about 6'9". That's right. Listen, you know, I work 2 jobs. My mother just had hair place, so I've been passing out early and missed. Hey, I'm just glad you ain't mad at us, Crash. I totally respect that. I know 2 jobs and having to take care of your mom. That's respectable. Just glad you're here. But if you've been keeping up in it all with what is and if you need me to put that schedule back on, let me know and I'll put it back on. You talking about Frank Kepnong? Kepnong? I don't think he's 7 foot, but he's a monster. 6'10", 280 maybe. But have you all seen or have you all been following what's going on with our practice clips? Have you seen some of those clips? My goodness, guys. The ball movement, the shot making ability, Alex Wilkins and Zoom Diallo. I think it was Pilgrim that said that they were probably the co-MVPs of week 1. And what I thought was really, really nice was how Marino came out and said that Zoom Diallo is his favorite point guard to play with. Did you all see that? Malachi Marino talked about how they played together, I think, at some USA camp back in the day. There was a picture online of Marino, Zoom, and maybe Usman. But the clips, the ball movement, yeah, I don't think Kepnon's 7 foot, but I think he's like 6'10", 280. I'm not sure on that. You can check it for me. But yeah, but they say Wilkins and Diallo MVP week 1, co-MVPs, which that's not really a surprise. They say that Momcilovic doesn't miss. The ball movement, you know, the extra passes being made. It just looks like a totally different team that's out there. Did you all see Pope's comparisons? Pope's comparing Alex Wilkins to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Did you all see that? They say he's shifty. He can get to the rim. He can make shots. And they compared Wilkins to Shai, which I think is high praise. And I'm going to tell you right now, they compared McBride to Julius Randle. Now, I hope he passes. Sometimes I feel like Julius Randle's one of those guys where the ball stops. It's hard for the offense to flow. He's kind of ball dominant. But they compared. But if he's got the motor, which I think he does, I think Randle's the perfect comp for McBride. And, you know, we always knew Alex Wilkins could score. They say, I can't remember what player it was, maybe in Trent Noah. Trent Noah had said that Usman is kind of like adjusting to the, I guess, American game faster than they thought. And they say he's a freak. And this is no surprise to you all that follow Kentucky. Can McBride shoot 3 points? He shoots 40% from 3, Josh. Shot 40% last year at JMU. But it's kind of like, you know, just seeing the clips, seeing the excitement. Of course, you know, whenever they're putting out clips, you never will see anybody miss one. But what they're saying about Mason Williams, this kid may play some, guys. They got a list of shots. I think they're made shots this summer that are listed. He's already made over 6,500 shots this summer. I think second was, I don't remember, but like McBride was 3rd or 4th on there. McBride's also lost 20 pounds, came in at 240, now down at 220. A lot of things to be excited about. Wilkins is in such a better position than he was at Furman, being here at UK with his team. His usage was very high, yet still efficient in the purple. Yeah, and he's not going to have the ball near as much. You know, I coached against Morton in high school, and he's just not real. I don't know if he's really that type. He's not a Dillingham to me. He's going to play good, solid basketball. He's going to, if he's open, he's going to knock down the shots, but he's also a team player. I'm not so sure Morton's going to get 10 minutes with Mason Williams. Frank's probably the one we don't want to shoot at, Josh. But this right here is a quality statement right here. 2 things you never do. You don't piss in the wind or leave Milan open 35 feet in. And I think both of those are factual statements. I don't know about leaving Milan open 35 feet in, but I can tell you shouldn't piss in the wind. I can tell you that. Crash says he wouldn't count Noah out too quickly. But my thing is, Crash or whoever's, you know, how we go find minutes for all these guys? Then, you know, I'm not so sure I'm sold on the give him a minute to get settled in. He'll give us some updates, but I'm not so sure I'm 100% sold on Costa Rica coming to Kentucky. I hope he does, but do we have enough minutes for all these guys? Do we have enough minutes for all these guys? Most of our team shoots above 36%, Bradley. Any of them can shoot it. Who am I most? I think I'm most excited. Of course, I want to see Momcilovic in blue and white just because. But I think if I had my pick, it'd be Alex Wilkins. I'm kind of I want to see Usman too, though. I don't know. There's something about the international player and the way they play the game that really intrigues me. But it'd also be hard for me not to really, really like Alex Wilkins. But I'll take your time, Crash. No hurry, no hurry. Yeah, don't eat yellow snow. That's not a good idea either. But I'm not gonna lie. I'm really, 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 really excited. Which I've always been kind of excited about this team ever since it started shaping up. It only took the signing of Momcilovic to really sell me. Not that I didn't think we could be good without him, but he takes us to another level just with his ability to shoot. Just imagine stretching the floor and Diallo and Wilkins being able to get downhill like they can. It's just, to me, just the perfect fit. I don't know if we could ask for better fit. Bradley wants to know who guards Stokes. Usman's 6'11", can probably guard him. McBride's physical as hell. I'm not so sure that Stokes is a physical type player. McBride is. I really don't think that Stokes is going to be able to light us up. Now, he's a volume type player to where he's probably going to get his points, but I just yeah, I agree, Kevin. And McBride physical, but go look at Frank Kepnong in those videos. That dude is as wide as my doorway. I love Zoom Diallo. I do. I like him a lot. Cam Williams. Yeah, Cam Williams might be your best bet starting off. I still don't think our starting lineup has changed. I still believe it's Diallo, Wilkins, Williams, Momcilovic, and Moreno. But I just, but what can happen though is, it's going to take these guys some time to get used to, I guess, playing with each other, like the chemistry on the floor, the flow. What we can't do is get down on these guys if they lose a game or two early that they shouldn't lose. But if our defense is anything like they're saying it could be with our length and size, I think our offense is going to be hard to stop. I think he's a great player. I definitely don't think he's more hype. And I'm not going to say that I didn't want him. If you remember on the show, I did say, I don't remember what show it was, but I did say if you had to make me choose between Stokes and Momcilovic, I would take Momcilovic just because just because, I mean, we've seen what he can do. He scored 22 on us in the NCAA tournament last year. I definitely want Momcilovic because I know he can play the college game, and I expect that Stokes is going to continue to get better as the season goes along. I like that we definitely play them the first game of the year right out of the chute. Well, Costa Rica is in Barcelona, which is, they say, is, a lot of the guys, from Barcelona go to the NBA. Now, I think Big Z and Jelly were both talented. I just don't think we use Yelovich. I don't think we use Yelovich right. I really don't. I don't think he got a fair shake. I've said that before. I hope he's the one former Wildcat I hope tears it up at Ohio State. I really hope he does. And I was a fan of Big Z. Big Z's best game was obviously his first game. You all remember that behind the back pass in traffic to Antonio Reese for 3 in the corner. But, Big Z had a pretty good year at Illinois, although his brother may be a little bit better, but, But did you all see also, I'm excited. I mean, if Mason Williams is, I'm excited to see him, honestly. I'm not as excited as I am to see Hawthorne, or I still think Wilkins is who I'm most excited to see. But I think we got a lot of guys on our team that are exciting players and will do exciting things. And a lot of the things I'm saying you want to see something exciting, wait till you see Njai out in transition. Of course, 6'11", and he can probably has a 40-inch vertical or something. So, but speaking of Usman, did you see where the NCAA approved their age-based eligibility model? So basically, it's that 5-for-5 that we've talked about before, and they Usman will be eligible right away because they did his eligibility from the day he turned 19. So he's going to enter this year as a senior, but he also has an additional year of eligibility. So we can still get him for 2 years if that's what he decides. So, who's Usman? I don't know a lot about the league he came from. I do know that the players are speaking highly of his ability, saying that he's just a creative shot maker and he's just a player. So other than what they're saying, I don't really have a lot to go on. But I think we're going to like him. I think we're definitely going to like him. Yeah, I don't know much about the league. Sorry, I don't follow a lot of the international ball. I didn't know who Usman or Costa Rica. I didn't know who those guys were till Kentucky became involved. There's nothing like the pop you heard at Rupp Arena when Big Z threw that behind the back pass. You knew with 100% certainty, you knew that Antonio Reeves was going to make that three. You just knew it. And when he did, just the pop of the crowd was unreal. Now, it may have been the best moment we saw from Z all year, but, the international game seems to be more all around well-versed than, the game that we play. But, gosh, I can't wait. I hope they have to replace the nets after every game. That dude needs to get 7 or 8 3 attempts a game. Maybe 10. If we're shooting 30, give him 10. So Aberdeen will play. Bradley, that's a good question. I just read the article because it had Usman specifically in the title. I don't know. I'm assuming he still has to have a waiver, and that waiver still has to be granted, I guess is the right word. I'm not for sure. But I definitely think that that's something we're going to hear about. That's a good question. Let me see if I can find the answer for you real quick. Is Aberdeen eligible for Florida? All right, here we go. How the NCAA's new age-based model affects Florida's Denzel Aberdeen. The NCAA Division I cabinet approved a 5-for-5 eligibility model for Florida's Denzel Aberdeen, who just completed his 4th year of college at Kentucky before transferring. He still has to wait on a decision from the NCAA regarding his waiver for a 5th year. And it says right here, while the new NCAA eligibility model, which is expected to become final on Wednesday, which is today, gives those currently eligible additional years, players who have already exhausted their eligibility, such as Aberdeen, are not included and will not retroactively receive another year. Additionally, the NCAA made it clear that waivers for another year will not be available. So if you go by that article there, that says there's no chance for Aberdeen, which that's not going to hurt my feelings. Owe did get drafted tonight. We talked about that. Got drafted by the Miami Heat and then traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder, where he'll join up with Ugonna Oyenzo got drafted. He's going to be joining Reed Shepherd in Houston. We'll see Ugonna Onyenzo, Big O. We'll see him in the summer league. This is funny. Perry Ellis commits to Florida. Now that's funny. I don't care who you are now. That's funny. That's funny. I don't care who you are. That right there deserves a Perry Ellis played 47 years. And here's the sad thing, Brian. I'm not even so sure Aberdeen can play for Florida this year. They're pretty good without him. I'm sure they take him, but yeah, that eligibility model is definitely going to change some things. But it's going to change some things in the aspect of recruiting when you can get a guy for 2 years, or if they have additional eligibility. He did get drafted by the Heat, but he was traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'll go give a latest update on the NBA draft for you all that I've seen several comments here. The second round may be over. It don't take long. Second round, they go Richie Saunders, BYU got drafted 2nd pick after being hurt last year. Didn't play many games. He got drafted by the looks like the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah, he tore an ACL in February, so that's kind of an odd pick. The Heat did get Ryan Conwell from Louisville. I like that. I believe so. And I hope he does. It was a Miami Heat's pick, but it had already been traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The heat is on. It's on the street. All right, so let's see. Duke, Isaiah Evans. Remember me mentioning earlier, I thought Isaiah Evans, Malik Thomas, and that Henrik Vesser guy from North Carolina, I thought they all got some bad advice, because the amount of money they're going to be making this year is less than the NIL package they would have received by going back to college. He got drafted by the Brooklyn Nets. Malik Thomas, all right, Sacramento Kings, who he'll be teaming up with, I think, his other Arkansas teammate, Darius Acuff. What about Mikael Brown? Let's talk about that. Not only did Mikael Brown get drafted before Acuff, he didn't even invite Pat Kelsey to the draft room with him. I think Pat Kelsey needs to spell his name with a lot of L's, because he's taken a lot of them. Trayvon Brazile from Arkansas got drafted by the Spurs. He's going to team up with JQ. Baba Miller from Cincinnati. I really like Baba Miller. He got drafted by, who drafted him? I can't really tell. I can't tell from the logo. Who drafted Baba Miller? Miami got Ryan Conwell. Braden Smith. Remember Braden Smith? Josh, he is playing for the Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder. But remember Braden Smith, point guard from Purdue? He got drafted by the Bulls. Dylan Mitchell, St. John's. My Celtics drafted Dylan Mitchell. Oweh went 41st to the Heat and then traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Jacoby Gillespie, also from Tennessee, got the Spurs. I'm just going by names that SEC names or names that. Oh, Nickel. Remember Tyler Nickel from Vanderbilt? He got drafted by the Suns. He was the one that was going to be filing a lawsuit for that 5th year. He was the one that was pushing that aspect of it. Well, he got drafted by the Suns and traded to the Knicks. Bryce Hopkins, of 49 to the Nuggets. That Henri Vesser from North Carolina, he got drafted 52nd. He should have went back to college. Onyenzo, 53rd. Trey Kaufman-Wren from Purdue got drafted, looked like by the Timberwolves. And they're on the last pick, which is by looks like the Wizards, maybe. Let me see here. Yeah, the Wizards are on the clock. It is Mr. Irrelevant. Could Mullen? Who's Mullen? No, I don't think Milan no. I just don't see where he's a top 3 or 5 pick. I could be wrong. The NBA does like shooters, but if that's the case, why was he a 2nd round pick this year? And I think the Toddcast set it up here. Deepest pool of college players in a really long time. And I think that was why it was so important for Marino and people like him to come back. And that's why I thought Malik Thomas should have came back for Arkansas, because I thought he could potentially be a lottery pick next year. This will be a weak class. Stokes won't go number 1 next year. I'll be willing to bet that right now. You remember Justin Edwards was also the number 1 NBA draft pick when he came to Kentucky and didn't even get drafted? Stokes will not be the number 1 pick next year. I'm going to go on the record right now. Mark it down. June 24th of 2026, Patrick from the Stay Hot podcast predicts that Stokes will not go 1st overall. BYU got a guy coming in that could potentially go. Yeah, Hank said that's not going to be a warm welcome after 2 Sooner buzzer beaters. But congrats to Oweh for getting to go back. I mean, not sure that's home, but my favorite Kentucky player on the team this year was kind of hard to see without, seeing him play. Of course, I like Momcilovic. I can't wait to see Wilkins. There's not really anybody I don't like yet. Now, there's going to be that one player that seems to always cause me grief. Like this past year, it was Jasper Johnson. I even pulled my hair out some with Aberdeen, although I really liked Aberdeen. But there's always that one player that's going to make you pull your hair out. The NBA draft set up with trades is stupid. It still looks like the team that traded is still on the clock. And I agree. It's hard to follow, but I'm kind of curious now. I'm kind of seeing who's going to be Mr. I don't even know. Do they do a Mr. Irrelevant in the NBA draft? Ooh, Oweh selected 41st and Mark Pope wore number 41. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. We thought they were both really, really good fits for them to be drafted. Really. Bucks are in a rebuilding type year. Oh, okay, so the Bucks are on the clock then. Yeah, it still has the Wizards on NBA.com or ESPN.com. But, we talked about how we feel like Oweh and JQ both got drafted in really good spots. Draft and stash era has ended. Yeah, it sure has. Which I wasn't a big fan of the draft and stash. Yeah. But Nate Ament got traded to the Bucks, I thought. Did he not? Oh, there we go. Nate Ament to the Bucks. I thought so. Carter Elliott. Yeah, I don't know who that is. It says on here that Malik Lewis from Spain just got drafted last. I wanted him to go to the Celtics, but I'm a Celtics fan, but I get it. Yeah, the 60th pick, I got Malik Lewis from Spain. That just shows you. Can you bring up the schedule again? Yes, I will. Glad to welcome Arkansas's biggest fan, Clyde, in here tonight. Oh, I am not an Arkansas fan. Okay, I thought you said you were. We was going to accept you either way. What will Kentucky's non-conference win-loss record look like this year? We're going to lose one non-conference game. I don't know who it's going to be, but we're going to lose one non-conference game, in my opinion. Here is – all right, there. That's just the Toddcast says undefeated. I hope he's right. There you go. There you go, Josh. There's the that's just the SEC schedule. All right, while that's up here, if anybody new's here, please give me a like and subscribe. I'm up to 722, but I do want to give you guys an update. I need a lot of you to become members if you want me to participate in the Redneck Brawl. I think the next Redneck Brawl is August 15th. I don't know when the deadline is to register. I think I've got like 25, maybe 26 members. I need 100. If I'm going to go in there and get my head pounded in, I definitely need it to feel worth it. Yeah, it will be tough to win at Virginia. You're right. Just their style of play is just so different to me. I don't know. I think if we can maybe get our style of play, I guess, where we can get some defensive rebounds, push it in transition, get out in open floor. I definitely think we'll have the advantage. And I'm not, with the roster we have, I'm not 100% convinced that our half-court offense isn't going to be good too. So, non-conference games, I'll get those here in a minute. All right, so 27 members. We need 70. I need 73 more members if I'm going to do Redneck Brawl. But if it's not this Redneck Brawl, then we'll do the next Redneck Brawl. If we get to 100, it's only 99 cents. 99 cents is not too much to ask. But let's look at the non-conference schedule. What's up, Dougie? Hey, if you're new here, please give me a subscribe and a like. I appreciate you stopping by. Welcome. Florida and Texas both on the road in conference is rough. This is it right here. This is it. Whereas last year, I didn't know if we had a chance at any game going into. I think this year we actually have a chance at every game we play. I'm actually working on that. That was just practicing the whistle. I'm actually working on that. Jennifer. If you're on Facebook, type in Redneck Brawl. Basically, you go 3 1-minute rounds with somebody you call out, similar size and stature, and you get in and fight. And I'm going to vlog it if I get it done. I've already got a camera crew ready to vlog. I've got a actually my sponsor 14K Sports Media is going to blog it. You know, I just need 100 members. I feel like if I'm going to get my head beat in, I need some kind of compensation. I'm not go look it up, Redneck Brawl. It'll be worth your time. Or type it in YouTube and watch. It's about a 3-hour show, but you can watch the first hour on YouTube with first hour on YouTube, and then it cuts off. All right. So hold on here. Let me share my screen here and let's look at the UK schedule. All right. So hold on a minute. No offense to Jennifer, but I don't know. I'm anal about that comment being down there. All right. So here's our non-conference schedule. Well, actually, here's our whole schedule. Manhattan, James Madison. All right. JMU, that's where McBride came from. They're coached by former Morehead State coach Preston Spradlin, who I have a pretty good relationship with. I'll try to get him on the show some point in time before that game. I texted him once before and he wasn't available. So I will try to get a hold of him again before that. It may be tough, but then we got Northern Arizona, Grambling, Indiana, Virginia, Bryant, Louisville, North Carolina, Sacred Heart. Oh, there's that Gardner Webb. My gosh. How do I get to the second part? Oh, these are just our non-conference games. Okay, my bad. All right, so these are just our non-conference games. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm predicting, I'll leave it up here a minute for you all to see. So Manhattan, James Madison, Kansas, Northern Arizona, I'm assuming the Manhattan and JMU are scrimmages. I thought our first game was Kansas. Well, regardless. Northern Arizona, Grambling, Indiana, and that's in Indianapolis. At Virginia, Bryant, Louisville at home. Oh, North Carolina, Madison Square Garden. Then we got Sacred Heart and Gardner Webb. So, where do you feel like we stand there? I see a lot of talk about Florida. This is probably a good year to only play them once. Yeah, Pope's first year we did as a 106-100 victory. That was a crazy game in Rupp Arena there. 106-100. Is Redneck Brawl before the mud wrestling? If you all could find mud wrestling, I'd consider mud wrestling if we got enough members. There won't much I won't do. Icon says, we always get Vandy and Tennessee twice. That's correct. Then they give us another SEC team twice. It is Ole Miss this year. Okay. Like I said earlier, a lot of people were disappointed it wasn't Arkansas, but, you know, if we got to play anybody twice, it's just soon to be Ole Miss. That's as plain as day as I can put it right there. Yeah, I think there was a bet. Wasn't there a bet between governors? Shout out to Pepsi. Bradley thinks 10-2. I'm going 11-1. That's a pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Vitel's just trying to be relevant. I don't know. I mean, he's coming back. I don't know. Dickie V's going to be relevant no matter where he makes his mark. He's kind of a landmark in college basketball. I like Dickie V, but I think he's way off base there. We got Carolina, Kansas, Louisville, Indiana, you know. Yeah, I know Jim Neighbors. I will. I follow him on Twitter, I think. But yeah, I think that's hilarious. Like, see, everybody knows that Kentucky moves the needle, but I don't think what he don't understand is I don't think Kentucky gets to pick who they play twice per year. That's from the SEC, but you know. Peanut, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. Oweh got drafted 41st by the Heat and was immediately traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder, where he will join forces with Cason Wallace and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yeah, we got Alabama coming to Rupp. We got Arkansas coming to Rupp. Then Auburn, LSU, South Carolina. I like playing A&M at home instead of on the road. Seems like that place down there is a hard place to win. At Texas is going to be rough. At Florida is going to be rough. But, you know, we may lose anywhere between 4 and 6 SEC games, but that's all right. That's all right. We're going to give our beatings a few too. You know, and that's one thing I thought Cal was good at with the non-conference schedule. We played a lot of teams that were favored to win their conference, the smaller teams. But, you know, I have no problem with this non-conference schedule. I mean, we have, 12 non-conference? Is that right? Regardless. I have no problem with the non-conference schedule. My new favorite NBA player, guarantee. He's definitely a worker. He's definitely a worker. I can't wait to watch him. I'm gonna try to, when I go to Vegas in middle of July, I'm gonna try to get to a summer league day where you can watch 3 or 4 games, and hopefully he's playing. I'd like to watch. Go buy his jersey, Peanut. In a redneck. Hey. Yeah, I'll fight in a redneck brawl. You all design the brawl. I'll fight in it. I'll wear just a brawl. Yeah, Icon, that's true. They do, but it's funny to watch though. Jim Neighbors was Gomer Powell. That is correct. I don't think it's the same one. Because this guy, Jim Neighbors, had played Gomer Powell, spelled it Nabors, I think, or ERS. And this is Neighbors. Oh, we do get Alabama at home with Brandon Garrison. That's right. Brandon Garrison, although he should be applauded, he'll probably get booed in his return to Rupp just because he's the enemy now. I just hope he don't check in on BG time against the Cats. Yeah. Yeah. Go watch that, Peanut. Here, hold on, Peanut. Stay right here. I'll show you something here in a minute. I don't have his reaction, but I showed this at the very beginning. With
the 41st pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Miami Heat select Otega Oweh from the University of Kentucky.
Isn't that pretty cool? That's awesome. Shout out to Oweh. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I think so too, Icon. One thing about Big Blue Nation is we're not prejudiced. You know, if you're a former Cat player and you return to Rupp, you're getting booed. Well, golly, Sarge. It's Neighbors. That's right. That's what I said. Nabors. That's a good question. I'm not for sure. Let me see if I can find that. Do you know who tweeted it? Okay, here we go. All right, I got it here. I'll share it with you. All right. Hisses? Hisses? I don't think those were hisses. All right, let me share this screen for y'all here. All right, let me see if... All right, this is Otega Oweh.
With the 41st pick in the 2026 NBA Draft, the Miami Heat select Otega.
I don't care who you are. That's pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome. And what makes it even better is Mikael Brown Jr. didn't even invite Pat Kelsey to the green room with him. Yeah, go watch his latest one. He basically saying that Kentucky's the biggest name out there, biggest brand, and they should be playing Arkansas twice a year. Dougie, thanks for sharing that. Thanks for telling us, because I hadn't seen that yet, and I'm not gonna lie, it gave me cold chills watching it. I love it. Yeah, just sometimes, adrenaline and emotion can make you play better, harder. But Brandon Garrison, we've seen him for a couple years. He's not one that scares me, so to speak. So, I mean, it just sometimes I know when you've got a little bit extra emotion, a little bit extra adrenaline flowing through your veins, you play better than what you are. Yeah, that's awesome. His mom wears combat boots, Brian. Pat Kelsey's mom wears combat boots. Send it to me on Facebook. What's up, Jake? Love that for Oweh. This past season would have been unwatchable. Yeah, at times I believe you're right. He did catch some flack, but I think he was doing what he felt like he had to do. Like Jake said, it could have been unwatchable without him this year at times. I have no worries at all about his work ethic. I have no worries at all about his grind, his hard work, his ability to be a great teammate, get downhill. But only thing that scares me in the NBA is his outside jump shot. It's got to improve. Teams are just going to start backing off if he can't make that consistently, and they're quick enough and strong enough at that level to prevent him from getting to the rim. That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely think that video right there showed me just, passion, love for the game, hard work. Basically saying, look, everything I put in has come, it's all paid off. So, I'm happy for Oweh. He got his bag last year returning to Kentucky. $3 million or so. Gets drafted. Probably going to see a lot of G League time this year, but I agree. I think he'll work his way he'll be in the full roster, I think, by season's end. I'm hoping to get to watch some of the summer league games. I love watching the summer league. Those guys that are just trying to make it. I really enjoy that. but you know, it's becoming a shooter's game in the NBA, and you know there are roles out there for players like Ortega, and you know, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. He's definitely physical enough to defend. I definitely think he's going to find a spot. I definitely do. I cannot believe the Spurs was goofy and dumb enough to draft Quaintance with that knee. Yeah, but what they're saying, though, after he has this surgery, did you see what they said? After he has this surgery to just kind of clean it up or whatever, he should be good to go. And if that's the case, to draft him at number 20 when he was a top 5 pick before, and they have room to hold him out and they have room to be patient with him, I think it's a solid pick. But the NBA isn't one that's going to wait 3 or 4 years on you. Caitlin Clark had 19 points and 8 assists at halftime. 16 points. She finished with 19 points, 8 assists. Only played half the game, went out with a back injury. So with that being said, I mean, that's the only reason I watch the league. I hope she comes back. Yeah, no doubt. Great. And Peanut, you'll like this. On one of the draft things I read about Quaintance, it was mentioned that he used to beat Mark Pope in chess all the time. Oway will have to earn a spot. Going to be super hard, but he is with a franchise that values defensive metrics. And Todd follows the NBA a lot more than me, so if he tells you something regarding the NBA, I believe it. Looks like South Africa is about to be South Korea in the World Cup. Is that a let me ask you, is that an upset, Jennifer? They're in extra time and they lead 1-0. Quaintance was a waste of a pick, in my opinion. A little more skilled than Isaiah Stewart, but that's his comp. I guess it'll all depend on. I mean, he's not an offensive-minded player at all. They draft him based on his defensive potential, rim protection ability, but yeah, there's always going to be room for guys like that. But I just think that his fit is I just like where they both got drafted and who they got drafted by. I'm a really big fan of that. Famous last words. Mark my words. Mark my words. Icon, June 24th of 2026. Icon predicts that in 5 years, you won't know anything about Jaden Quaintance. L's down, Peanut. Are you able to access? Yeah, there was an update on YouTube to fix the iPhone glitch. Yeah, there. I said that last show, I think. Or maybe you wasn't on here yet, but I did see it. Listen, if you know, Will Stein's done a lot of great things, but one thing he's doing, he's bringing back that Power K. He is bringing back the Power K. All right, David, appreciate it, man. I'll check it out. I mean, I think, you know, I'm intrigued by this Costa Rica stuff. Just how you heard everything and now you don't hear nothing. I don't know. I'm just a little turn my ringer down. I don't like the sound of that. Yeah, I think you are. I don't think we'll win but 6. I'd be okay with that. I also saw where did you see where somebody put a picture of the Wildcat with the interlocking UK on the center floor at Rupp Arena? That looked pretty good too. Things are getting awful quiet, Icon. It was I think Dusty May announcing he was going to Dallas Mavericks may have helped in this situation. I think he was close to going to Michigan. Now, I think it all decides on what his relationship is with Mike Boynton, who they hired as the interim coach. And like I said before, UCLA is also in the mix. They have 2 Serbians on staff, which have to have some kind of connection with him. And then, but I said, if you want to be mediocre and irrelevant, you go to UCLA. If you want to have a chance to make the Final Four and be a legend, you come to Kentucky. And if Kentucky's got money to offer. Yeah, that was kind of how the logo was. That they, of course, it isn't the one you changed, but the original logo with the interlocking UK and the Wildcat behind it. Somebody put it like it was painted on center court at Rupp Arena and it looked really, really good. What will Will Stein's record be this year? Let me think. Everything I've seen so far is a Kentucky leads for Spears. Yeah, well, we know that Spears is cousins to Ryan Hampton. Jack Pilgrim said his family likes Mick Cronin because that meanness resonates with Serbians. Well, so be it. I don't see 9-3. I'm a little bit more pessimistic when it comes to UK football just because I'm not 100% sure. We're gonna lose 5 or 6, I would say. Yeah, that's what I said. If he goes to UCLA, nothing hurt. We probably won't hear much from him. Yeah, he's getting several 4 stars. He hadn't got any 5 stars yet, but that's hard to 5 stars are hard to do, and that's why a lot of these teams that are ahead of them in the rankings are ahead of them in the rankings because they've got 5 stars. I wouldn't be shocked with 7, but I think a lot of it will be dictated by their week 2 game against Bama. Bradley, why are you so unrealistic, dude? He doesn't. 1 year, he doesn't deserve a lifetime extension. Stoops went to several bowls, 5 or 6 in a row, and didn't get a lifetime extension. Well, he flipped to Carolina, I think, because we're going to get the Fryman kid from Beechwood. He was assigned to play baseball at Louisville, and we flipped him to, I think, play football Kentucky. He's a receiver. That's what we said. All national televised games. Very good point. Sean Fox will be making his announcement tomorrow on YouTube. Okay. Do you know what channel that'll be? Dougie, do you know what channel he's committing on? I'd say Fox will end up, is he the linebacker? Linebacker, I think Fox. Reds got beat again, 6-5. Got swept by the damn Brewers, 2-16 against the Central. No comment. But yeah, I get your drift. All right, so if you want to watch the Sean Fox, I think he's from Warren Central, but I think it's out of Indiana, if I'm not mistaken. The 5-for-5 did pass. Usman's eligibility goes back to when he first became eligible at 19, so he'll enter this year as a senior, but we get him for next year as well. Yeah, I've not read a lot about it, but yeah, I did hear. I want to read more on it before I discuss it. But yeah. But something's got to be done. I don't know what it is, but Reds are butt water. Reds are hot dog water, butt water, whatever it is. But he also has another year of eligibility, Clyde. Yeah, Bill Walton's not walking through that door on his team, is he? Let me see. Let's see if I can. If we have any Reds fans on here, I just want you to know how bad they are. Since 3 years ago, the Reds are 54 games behind the Brewers. Blue, thanks for coming here. If you give me a like and a follow, but if you were on the show a little bit earlier, the NCAA is still not going to grant waivers. Aberdeen is likely done. They're going to not backdate it, so to speak, but if you go to Google and type in Aberdeen at Florida, you can find an article that'll tell you exactly. I put it up on the screen and we read it. Denzel does not get a 5th year because he would still need approval from a waiver. And they said NCAA has been quoted as saying they will not grant any waivers. I pulled it up on the screen earlier to show. So I wouldn't expect to see Aberdeen play. But Bluegrass, thanks for coming by, man. I appreciate it. Give me a like and a follow or a subscribe. Yeah, I'm done with the Reds. All right, there you go. Sean Fox. No problem. No, you're good. You're good. I'm just saying, I can't remember the exact words, but it did blatantly say that and made it like straight up said that the NCAA would still need to grant a waiver. And as they've said, they will not be granting waivers. Not me. You're not Kentucky man no more. I hope you don't play. And listen, Peanut, everything I'm hearing about Mason Williams, that may not be a bad thing. All the players are acting like he's legit, you know. A lot of times when you're the coach's son, you get you get kind of a bad rep as you only got a roster spot because you're the coach's son. They say he can play. No, I don't think so. Because I'm not even sure Sparky Anderson could get wins out of this bunch. Joe Torre. They look like I went to the game last night with my daughter for straight A tickets. And they almost got no hit 2 games in a row. Yeah, and here's the thing. McLean's taking reps in center field, but why? That's not going to help his hitting problems. That's his issue. His defense isn't the problem. And they've got Dunn, who's young. Marte's young. Henry Rodriguez is an outfielder, and it's killing it in AAA. Outfield, they've got an outfield. If McLean can't hit, ship him off. I have heard of Yimga, Hugo. We talked about him one show. I don't know what they're going to do with that last spot. If, they may not fill it if they don't get Costa Rica. I think they have every intentions on filling it, but I'm not counting Kentucky out yet in that recruitment. Yeah, last night they did it. I think it was Brock Burke and somebody else came in and pitched 6 or 7 pitches to get him out of a jam, no runs. They took him out and brought in Santion, who had already pitched 2 innings the previous day to give up 2 runs. Yeah, that's the truth. Nick Krall needs to be embarrassed. Nick Krall needs to go on somewhere. It's that flat out and an embarrassment of a franchise. Yeah, I don't care if we get him or not either. I think he's a good player. I definitely think we could use him. But, we've got a lot of pieces right now. I'm not so sure how I'm still not 100% sure how the minutes are going to work right now. And as I've told you all 1,000 times, I don't like to speculate how many minutes each team's getting or each player's getting. Because I think it's pointless. I think there's so many things that happen during a game that dictate your minutes being played. So I'm not going to, there's a lot of people have asked me, how many minutes you think so-and-so will get? How many minutes you think so-and-so will get? I'm not going because I don't know. I would hope whoever's playing well gets the most minutes. And with that being said, our pitching killed us this year. I hope Mangione fixes it before next season. We had numerous games won, clean up pitching, let them come back and beat us. Yeah, I was really upset with the Kentucky baseball team and how that all unfolded. I really was. Yeah, but Brian, that's not, the new age, it's not the way it works. It may make it a little bit easier knowing they're getting paid now, but I still think these guys are young, competitive athletes. They want to play the game of basketball. They want to be on the floor. And if they have a jersey on, they all think they deserve to be there. They wouldn't have that jersey on. So they want to play. And technically, that's how it is. Yeah, at least your Cubbies aren't in last place. Correct. We're just going to be able to host. And who knows what happens. All right. Crash says, I've heard Hugo getting mentioned as someone UK might be interested in, but so far I haven't heard of any actual movement on anyone other than Costa Rica. So in my opinion, it's not worth speculating. Yeah, and I'm not ready to give up on the Nicola. I definitely think he's one that we can we might be able to still snag when you start throwing the whole recruitment out there as far as, the roster, money, everything. He just got back from injury. He was injured for like a month. I know he had at least 1 hit tonight. And I know that Tito don't have a lot to work with the Reds, but some of his managerial decisions are not what I consider to be Hall of Fame manager stuff. Do you think that Frank blocks Brandon Garrison's shot at Rupp Arena this year? I don't even know how to answer that. I guess it's possible. Tonight? He got hurt again? Don't tell me it happened again. Yeah, I'm excited about NJ too. I think he's kind of an enigma, kind of like Hawthorne. They both got great size, 6'10". Oh, yeah. Okay. His original injury. I think it's insane to pay more than a couple mil for any freshman, especially a Euro reclass. Even if he's projected top 5 pick in 2028 NBA draft. Yeah, listen, it's no joke when I tell you that he's wider than my door frame. He would have to turn sideways to walk in my house. And then I don't know if I got a chair big enough to hold him. He is what I would consider monster. Ryan Lemon, grown-ass man, big butt basketball. The last I heard, we still have the biggest overall offer, but it's the way the contract is structured that supposedly they have an issue with. Yeah, something about the back end of year 2, wasn't it? I heard that. Yep. And I think he was the one that had some kind of clause in it that said if he were to leave after year 1 or go somewhere else, that, some of that money he'd have to give back, which I'm not 100% sure how all that works, but prayers for Ryan Lemon. I was glad to know he got back. He was back on the show this week. I think it was actually today or yesterday where he came back. So shout out to him. I'm a Ryan Lemon fan. I think he's a national treasure. I don't know how you cannot like Ryan Lemon. Yeah, and I with us not playing any games this summer, I like the fact that they're taking it kind of conservative with him. He's probably 21, 22 years old already. So, you already know what you're going to get out of Frank. I'm not 100% sure because there wasn't an article. It was either Pilgrim or somebody from that group that said that something with the way it was structured. I'm not for sure, but something in the back end. So it's kind of like I don't know verbiage or stuff with the contracts and things like that. It was just, that was the terminology that was used. That's a good question. Crash or some guy on social media named Elijah saying that Pope, the closer Mo Williams, and another staff member went to meet with Costa Rica today. Yeah, I can see why Kentucky would want to do a huge amount for year 2 to make sure he comes back. I totally get that. And I like that they're playing it like that. I don't think he's necessary, meaning we absolutely 100% need him with what we have. But I think we could use him for 2028 for sure. No, that's like the wish of Pepsi. That's like Timu Pepsi. Get the real stuff. Even a diabetic like me drinks the real stuff. Hey, Pepsi, shout out. Everything points to them that they will fill it. Now, I don't know if they will, but they say they want to. I definitely like the 2-year deals. That's closer to the old school type where you knew you were getting somebody for 3 or 4 years. I definitely think Spears and Rosser are close, but I hear that Kentucky's making headway with Beckham Black too. I know that, he commented on where the relationship he has. So There you go. Hey, I need 74 more members, Icon. 74 more members before I join. The next one is August 15th. That's almost probably too late to get registered for that, but after August, they'll probably have one in October, November. Listen. I'm ready. But I need 100 members. But I can tell you this. I'm probably going to have to go to the hospital. I can't fight. I've never fought. And I'm going 3-1. Well, I probably want to go 3 1-minute rounds. I'll probably get knocked out. I need some compensation. I'll go with the Stay Hot himself. Patty Cakes. I'll go by Patty Cakes. I like it. I think he ends up at UCLA, if not Michigan. I don't know. I mean, the Serbians on staff seem to me be a big deal for him. I don't know, but some people said he really liked Mick Cronin, and I don't know how that can be, but his agent keeps moving the goalposts and isn't being totally honest in his dealing. So I heard Sunday night the UK was moving on from Costa Rica, but with Michigan likely out, that takes away. It takes away some leverage and might get the agent to return to the negotiating table in a more professional way. Yeah, and that was the whole thing that the article I read earlier, and it was this article here from Pilgrim. It's on the pay site of the KSR on 3 or whatever. Basically said that that it was the leak. The agent was basically doing that or leaking that just to get more money for his client, which I can't necessarily blame him, but I wouldn't want him to do it in a dishonest way to where he's, being dishonest about it. High Five would be a great name for what? For my Redneck Brawl name? I'm going with Patty Cakes. I've seen Elijah, but I mean, like I said, I've seen him be right and I've seen him be wrong. I don't know how he knows or what he knows, but if he wants to get hooked up, I'll put him on the show and we can ask him. I mean, I don't blame him. I think he's a good young talent, but also, I'm not. There's only certain people I believe, and it's not that I don't believe him, but I've not seen it anywhere else. How does he know that and nobody else knows that? I've looked on Twitter several times today, and I've not seen anything about that. No, Clyde, is that necessary? Why can't you say thanks, Crash, for the great info? You're just trying to stir up trouble. Sounds like Michigan is out. That may put us back in. I don't know if Michigan's out. They may have backed off since, him and his agent may have backed away since Dusty May left. But I could do Bang Your Head by Quiet Riot. Absolutely. Keeper says when UCLA and Kentucky, and Elijah said we're very much in this, and I believe what he says, just like I believe what Crash is. They both got good. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know Elijah. I just don't know him. But, I mean, I have no problem. I'm not saying he's wrong. Tidy Whiteys. What if I go in with the longest redneck brawl name in history? Patty Cake, Tidy Whiteys, High Five. But for UK, there's really not much incentive to sign him without those year 2 assurances. Why would you pay a guy possibly $6 million for year 1? He plays 10 to 12 minutes per game and then bolts, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying. I like Kentucky using their head and kind of drawing the line in the sand. If you're going to come to Kentucky, this is the way we're structuring this. You're going to get the most money in year 2. And I heard 11 million. So actually I heard it would be between 5 and 6 million per year. Clyde, you're telling me to do all these things. You're not a member. I've got 27 members. I need 100. That's 73 more members. We got a long way to go before we talk about this. You got 3 accounts you're on here with. Be a member. It's 99 cents a month. I know. I got Apple Pay. I can't figure it out. I'm just messing with you, dude. I love you, brother. I'm glad you're here. You support the show. I appreciate you. Yeah, I know. And that's what makes me think that Bat is a really good hire. I didn't know a lot about him. All I heard about was the Boise State guy. And then when we hired Bat, I liked his introduction. I like what he said. I like how he spoke to the UK basketball players. I mean, I might even, hey, David, if I can find him, where you at? Before I can, hey, I may even wear the Legion of Doom spikes on my shoulders. Listen, I chuckled when I read this, but it's not out of the realm of possibility he ends up at Illinois. If you look at Illinois' roster, Brian, I know you're a real one. I know 27 members. I need 73 more before I'll send in my video and everything. I'm calling out Polacek. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Josh, do you hear us talking? That's what we're talking about. Do you know? I mean, you got me on mute? Earth to Josh. Earth to Josh. It's really down to us in UCLA. We can definitely beat their money, but Pope isn't willing to bend over to get him, which I like Pope doing that. I like Pope drawing a sand and taking a stand. I could be wrong, but I really do like it. Just because, uh-oh. You were already a member, though, Icon, I believe. But I appreciate you. You're a real one. Wear a Spaceballs outfit. Josh, yeah, I don't know what, I mean, he's asked 2 or 3 times who were filling with that last spot. I wish I knew. Icon, you the man. Hold on. Let me see here. Because I appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you more than you. We can probably get you axe and smash demolition outfit and paint. Yeah, hey. You know what though? I don't know. You know what? I don't know if there's any. I'll have to look and see what the stipulations are. I know you. I've never seen anybody do paint yet. I think you have. I've never. That's weird. I've never seen. There we go. I've never seen anybody come in with paint. But listen, I'm willing to push the envelope. There we go. L's. Hey, and I'll even come to the ring like this. The Mad Hatter. He probably wants to go to Illinois or Gonzaga, just trying to dupe somebody for a year while they find the money. Good thing we got Dark Pope and Crafty Key. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's not out of the realm of possibility. I just hope. Have you heard anywhere, Crash, that Pope and Mo and somebody else went and visited Costa Rica? Have you heard that? Like, I've checked Twitter multiple times a day, and I've never seen anybody else report that. Throw them K's up. What the WNBA is doing to Caitlin Clark is flat out egregious. Oh, okay. Do you have a contact for Elijah? If I can get a hold of Elijah somehow through Twitter, if you got his Twitter, put it in the. I'll reach out to him and try to get him on a show, and I'll do a show tomorrow night. Uh-oh, here we go. Look at this. There have been 4 Kentucky basketball players. 4. Now, you can't get this information anywhere. There's been 4 Kentucky basketball players who have been drafted 41st overall. 41st. Otega Owe, Kobe Brea, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jody Meeks. It's absolutely egregious, Brian, what they're doing. Tonight, she got taken to the ground, and Alyssa Thomas put her fist on her throat. No foul, no nothing. When you share the emojis on the screen. Yeah, because it won't through YouTube, like if somebody goes back and watches. But when I put it on the screen like that, it's because StreamYard, which is a streaming service I use, doesn't recognize. But when you on YouTube, what do you see? Do you see the actual icon or the emojis? I'll remind you all that the kid just turned 17 a couple months ago. This mess isn't his fault. It's his amateur agent. Well, right. Yeah, 17. I get it. I'm going to look Elijah up on Twitter here and just see if I can type in Elijah. Everybody is pissed at Travis Branham over his crystal ball prediction, but I can't even get mad at him. He was given false information. Take it to the bank. Oh, those are strong words. I need to look up BBN Unfiltered. All right. She's averaging a double-double, David. She's pretty good at her role. Right, that's exactly what I said, Crash. I'm not saying he's wrong either, but I just feel like that information somehow or another, if he got it, somehow or another, that message would have got out through someone else. And he may have. All right, I'm on the BBN Filtered show. It looks like Austin Flannery and Kyle Tackett are the host. I'll go back and watch their show. They did a live call in. So did he call in? All right, I will go watch it later, Keeper. I'll go watch it for sure. I didn't know of BBN Unfiltered. I don't have their. I'll go follow their channel too on YouTube because I like to follow other people and BBN Unfiltered. All right, there it is. I subscribed. All right. All right. Might see if I can do a collab with them one day. I like BBN Unfiltered. I know the Austin kid. I don't know. Coach Kyle Tackett. Where are they from? Does anybody know where they're from? All right, let me see here if I can. Elijah, Kentucky. I'm not seeing any Elijahs come up as team member or any kind of people. I'm going to go watch their show, Peanut. If I don't like it, I can always unsubscribe. Okay, Scott County. Okay, that's fine. But I listen, I'm finding no Twitter, no information or nothing for this kid named Elijah. If y'all happen to come across Elijah this week somewhere on Twitter, Instagram, wherever, send me a comment on the show and let's see if we can find him. Hey, Wildcat Keeper, no need to get all hostile. No need. I'll decide for myself if I like it or not, but I would watch Chris Adams if I could ever find him anywhere on my time feed. I'm not going to subscribe to his channel, but I would listen to him a little bit just to see. Then if I don't like him, I turn him off. Just like when people don't like me. I know, but I don't like hostile. I don't like a hostile talk in the chat. I like everything to be smooth. But let me show you this. This is what I was talking about when I said what they're doing to Caitlin Clark is egregious. Look at that. That's Alyssa Thomas, number 25. Look at that. No foul, no nothing. You can't tell me. I mean, she's obviously in pain. That wasn't the she did get up kind of clenching her back there, but she played for a little bit after that. Then she went out for the rest of the game with her back injury. Hopefully she plays next game, but I'm familiar with Elijah. No offense to him. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I do not trust him as a source. Okay? I mean, they may not be from Kentucky, but they may live in Kentucky. I mean, you don't have to be from Kentucky to follow the Cats. We got a lot of people in our chat that don't live in Kentucky. One of my favorite, Jake. Jake's an Indiana dude. No, I didn't say you couldn't. I'm just saying don't be all hostile. Keeper, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. You bring a lot of good to the chat. I'll also add that one of the mistakes Pope and staff kept making was letting recruitment drag out for too long. They were correcting that and are prioritizing on close. Yeah, and I've seen that. I mean, I think early on that was the case. You know, I think they're, you know what? And if they go in there and say, here's the deal, you're taking this or not. And if they want to go visit somewhere else, just, you know, Kentucky can back away. Because I promise you, that Kentucky leaving, you know, just walking away could cost him money, so to speak. So if Costa Rica drags this out, Pope probably won't play ball with that. I don't blame him. That's what I've wanted from him. I knew who he was talking about. And believe me, I've gotten on Peanut before too, Keeper. I get on Peanut. He likes to get a little hairy at times. They swooped in and poached on negativity when everyone wanted Pope fired. Well, I feel like everybody's done that. You know, I tried to be positive, but I really feel like, you know, once again, I'll say it again. You talk about Kentucky basketball, no matter where you're from or what you're talking about, people tune in. That's just what it is. And here's why. Because Kentucky, and this is another reason why Kentucky's got the best fan base in the world. Because we follow this stuff, we know what's going on. So when they try to pull that crap, you know, and I think I think we're all guilty of hearing things, reading things, and sometimes, like we've all heard something, read something, and then we go back to share the information. It's kind of like we've kind of added our own little stuff in there that kind of distorts it. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I know I am. I try to, you know, I'll try to get better. Hey, no need to apologize, you know, no need. Peanut, everyone does it's the way it goes. I think Stokes burning Pope. Yeah, and I think that was the thing. And I think he had to change. We couldn't go through another Stokes situation. And that's why I was so glad that the Momcilovic situation ended the way it did. You know, ended the way it did for the simple fact that because can you imagine? That was kind of the commitment that kind of reunited the BBN fan base, or kind of, you know, brought us together. Although there are some out there still being negative, but I don't see it as often now. They don't really have anything to be negative about right now. Now, be prepared for the whiffs if he chooses to go somewhere else. And it may even be a decision that Pope's made himself, kind of like what Crash said. If their agent wants to drag this out, Pope may walk away. He may commit to UCLA after Pope walks away, but it's still going to be perceived as a Pope whiff. So I'm going to watch him. I'm going to watch him for sure. I'll probably watch him when I go off here tonight. Stokes was a big part of the problems, but that was really just a symptom of the issues they were having with recruiting. Okay. Yeah, I can't wait to go back and watch Jim Neighbors from Arkansas say that. Have him get all flustered. Yeah, I mean, listen. I think, you know, and this ain't all on Pope. I think the Kentucky fan base were so on edge for how the Calipari era ended. The last couple of years, we were all starving for success. We started getting a little bit of that on Pope with year one. So I think our expectations went a little bit higher for year two, thinking, okay, if this is what a Sweet 16 in year one, you know, but then the roster never gelled, injuries happened, it never came to fruition. But it's like there's a lot of things that happen, you know. You can't necessarily blame it on a coach when a recruit goes somewhere else. Or Marino's brother said to Pilgrim that he even was tired of seeing all the whiff accusations. It was part of recruiting on every team since NIL started. Kentucky wasn't special in misses or anything. You know, and we said that on here. If you're in recruiting and you're at a Power 5 conference, you've missed out on a lot. Why does it seem like we miss out on a lot? Because we're the only one that we follow. We don't follow Shire. We don't follow Bill Self, or we don't follow UConn. Those guys miss out too. Yeah. I totally understand where she's coming from, and I think it's a valid concern. But, you know, with what we have already, there's still going to be some players left out that are good players. And I guess it's a good problem to have, but as a coach, you better be able to manage some of those problems, put some of those fires out. And Kentucky-style success is Elite Eights, Final Fours. Sometimes I feel like our expectations are a little too much, which is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. However, they got to be realistic expectations. You know, think about last year. We lost a lot of games, and I'm not saying losing as in score, meaning we had our two of our three best players out for significant time. that definitely changes things. And is this 17-year-old, is he the type of player that could take a lesser role? Is he going to be happy with 10, 12 minutes? Probably not. So is he more likely not to stay for another year? That could be something that Pope's thinking about. But I do like the fact that all this competitive, talented roster, you get better in practice competing against better players. Kentucky's going to get better this year because of their practices are going to be competitive. Funny, they was all fired up until after the Oakland game. Many was content on even allowing Cal to stay. The same ones who cry for Pope's job since he was hired. Yeah, and I can agree there somewhat be a double standard. Morale, I agree. Some people can't handle that, Clyde. Some people want to be sunshine pumped. Once we get into the season, and I know this team a little bit better, I'm probably not going to be a sunshine pumper. I'll be realistic. Joe B went Elite 8 year 1, 15-15 year 2. People said he's soft and not the right guy. I want him fired. Year 3, we're runner-up for the title. Right. I think sometimes our expectations are very unrealistic. I don't know how to do all that, but I can send him the link if he wants to come on. Ask him if he wants me to send him the link. The toughest conference is the SEC, in my opinion. Who is the second? Well, I'm not. I mean, last year the Big Ten was good. Yeah, Big Ten, Big 12. I mean, I don't know. I think the SEC is kind of the best, but ACC or a keeper, tell him if he don't want to do it, we'll get together or give me his email address or whatever. And I'll have no problem. It's almost midnight now. He may not want to come on at midnight, but I have no problem adding him for another show if he wants to do another show. We've already been going 2 hours and 15 minutes. Obviously, Duke is going to be really good this year. I'm not 100% sure on how good I think North Carolina is going to be. They signed some guys from the portal that, if you remember, UK was linked to very early on in the portal. Mike Malone is a good coach, I believe. Can you put your email in there, Austin, so I can email you the link? I don't want to put the link in the chat, then everybody clicks on it. I wish you could DM and kind of YouTube. I think there's some way you're supposed to be able to. Or I can send it to Twitter. I see your Twitter on here. I use Twitter most often. I'll send it to your Twitter, Austin. I just sent it. Time flies when you're having fun. Sometimes it's tough. 2 hours in, and if we didn't have such a good chat, such a good community here, I wouldn't do 2 hours, but you know, I like it. I love interacting with you guys. Jeff Dunham's dummy Bubba J called Twitter titter. Appreciate you, Kevin. Appreciate you, my brother. All right, I'll add him as soon as he gets on. Sometimes it may be a little bit. Yeah, I sent it to BBN Unfiltered Twitter. The one that's got, I would assume this is you. It's got the blue check mark. Yeah, you tweeted something 39 minutes ago. Or you want me to send it to Austin Flannery? I can send it to you personally if you want. I did that too. I sent it to BBN Unfiltered and your personal Twitter. Beep, beep, beep. All right, so make sure all right. I don't know if you have to, maybe I followed you. I don't know if you have to follow me, but I don't know how that works on Twitter. All right, send me your email. Or is it in your bio? There's Julie. There you are. The family member of Aaron Boley, Gatorade Player of the Year, who was a bucket. She was a bucket. Let me see if I can find your email. Oh, that's right. Cutter Boley as well. That's right. That's right. Family member of Cutter and Aaron Boley. I don't know why that's not showing up in your Twitter, because I don't see. I sent you a message or I sent you something saying I followed. Okay, you followed me back. Let me see if I send it again. It said, check it again. BBN filtered one. I can't find your email address. Oh, there we go.
Hey,
what's up, my man?
what's going on?
How you doing, brother? Yes, sir. I don't know why I was taking forever on Twitter. I don't use. That's the only social media I use.
Yeah, I think I had to go in and accept your request and I guess follow you back.
Okay. Yeah, I know sometimes that's the way it works, but I wasn't 100% sure how it did it. But no, man, I just I didn't know.
So what's going on? What's going on? I got a message from some of my listeners that say there's some fire going on. I don't know.
I try to put out as many of those as I can, but some people I've just got turned on to your show, so I followed you on YouTube. I'm gonna watch the show, and somebody commented that you were involved with Chris Adams and promoted negativity, then you had a couple of your followers that were very loyal to you and supported you, and I had to just kind of shut it down because I said, I'm going to watch it regardless of what you all say, and I can decide for myself what goes on. But no, I'm excited. I don't know all the UK shows because I'm fairly new myself, so I was.
No, there's a bunch of us. There's definitely a bunch of us. So, and I don't know exactly what you said, but first off, I'll say I don't agree with everything Chris Adams says. He probably doesn't agree with everything I say.
Well, right. That's part of it.
And hold on. And you know what I say back to that? Like, it's all right. We're not all going to agree with every opinion, every statement that we say, but at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. Has he come off negative in the last month or so, and month and a half? Yeah. And believe me when I say, me and Chris have had private conversations saying, "Hey, man, you're a little bit too negative, man." But it's his show. He can be however he wants on his show, right? And do I promote his negativity? No. But I mean, I'm not gonna tell him what he can do on his show.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. What you just said is exactly what I said. Hey, if you don't like somebody, don't watch them. You're not going to agree with everything I say. And once the season starts, I'm going to find a player or two that just makes me pull my hair out, and I'm probably going to go. But right now, I don't feel like we have anything to be negative about. I feel like,
No, I mean, as of right now, the train's rolling, and it's at full speed right now. Can it translate into wins, into postseason success? To be determined. The pieces are there. Recruiting has been a huge success now at the time we're at currently. Will that maintain? Will that pace continue to roll? That's nobody knows. But if you want to be negative, be negative. If you want to say, "Hey, we're going to win the Natty," then say we're going to win the Natty. Say whatever you want, because at the end of the day, we're podcasters, right? We're not reporters. We're not journalists. We're
definitely not truth or like soothsayers or anything, but the way I try to approach things is, and I was never on the Fire Pope train. I feel like as long as he's the coach of Kentucky, that's who I'm supporting. If they get somebody else in there, I'll support them.
I will support whoever is in that seat. Will there be criticism given when it's due? Absolutely.
I think they make way too much money.
And all of my followers know that criticism from our show was given in a proper manner. Now, on the flip side, the last 6 weeks in recruiting where we've killed it, again, my followers will probably say, "Hey, man, I've never seen them be so positive and be so optimistic." Well, because we've seen results. We've seen the tides turn in a upward trajectory in a manner that no one has seen during the season. So, was Chris a little negative for a stint? And him and I had a conversation, and I promise you, and if you go back and watch his content from, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago, if you notice, he's slowly started to be more positive.
For some reason, I don't know, I don't even know what his YouTube channel is. I've seen him pop up one time on my Facebook feed or something, and somebody may have shared it, it was early April when the portal just opened and we were struggling. Obviously, right. I was probably a lot more negative then too, when I see us, people reporting we're in the final two for so-and-so, and they pick someone else, and it just seemed like we weren't getting anybody.
Right.
I think that dictates a lot of how we feel, but I watch, and I've even, there's one of my followers, and he may follow you too. His name's Jake. He's from Indiana.
Jake Cornett.
Yeah, I love him. But he put together a show, like a list for me that tells me when everybody's on or whatever. So I always try to pick a time slot when nobody else is on, because I don't want to share followers. I don't want to split followers. I want to support every Kentucky show there is. And there's some people out there that just thrive on making everybody else miserable, you know?
So, and listen, man, I agree with what you're saying. Supporting shows, I'm literally in the process of creating a mega podcast show that BBN Unfiltered will be the host of. And I've already consulted with a specific page, the Men of KSR, who's willing to help me promote it and make it a really big event, like a weekly series type of deal. But the reality is there's no way that any show will continue to grow and succeed without us supporting us. Right. So again, I don't know exactly what was said. Some of my followers messaged me and said, "Hey, your show was kind of bashing me." Listen, man, I don't know.
No, it wasn't me bashing you. It wasn't me. It may be somebody in the chat, but it wasn't me. You can ask a Wildcat Keeper, because I won't bash anybody else, because I know what we do. I know how hard it is to produce a show. I know how hard it is to get on here and talk and kind of set yourself up for those comments. You know what I'm saying? Like when nobody else is getting on here, putting their face out here, putting their, their name on these statements or whatever.
It's a little more difficult than people think.
And it is a lot more difficult than people think. But it was kind of like basically the Chris Adams comment was what it was. Thought that you promoted him, and I said, look, I'm going to watch it regardless.
If it's a Kentucky podcast, I'll promote it. Whether I agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. If it's a Kentucky podcast, I'll promote it. I mean,
like you said, you never, ever, ever going to agree with everything somebody else says. If you do, I think you got to have those people that kind of are on the other side. I think it makes for good banter, good conversation, good show. Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
And listen, that's something. And for anybody that listens to KSR, I called into KSR yesterday, tried to bring up the topic of, hey, let's have a topic or a segment of Kentucky podcast shows, submit their stuff to KSR. They grade it. They bring on the best podcasters that they determine are the best. And Matt stopped me halfway through the spiel and, oh, we've done that before or whatever. No, he just had some random people submit a trial and say, hey, this is what I can do if I host a show. No, he didn't really actually accept real podcasters and people that have channels.
Well, and I think, Matt's been blessed with his following and things like that. And, Matt, I don't think he wants anybody else cutting into that. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what? That to me, and listen, I love KSR.
I do too.
KSR is the reason why I do this. I've been listening for 14 years, but there's one thing that they have never been able to do is combine different Kentucky sports personalities together to make a combo show to accept different opinions, whether they agree or not. Matt likes to hear Matt talk, and he likes to be right. He doesn't want to hear the opposing opinion. And that's, you know what? And it's been successful, and that's fine. I've listened to it. But I'm now bothered by it because I now have a voice. And my show has gained a following. And I truly believe that there's another spot for Kentucky sports podcasts to rise to the top.
And
I truly do.
That's the one thing, like, I went to the bar several times. Matt knew who I was because I coach high school basketball too. And, he'd always call me coach. And
where do you coach?
I coach girls at Pendleton County High School.
Okay.
Girls varsity basketball. And so I'd always talk to him, whatever, but like, I don't think he supports, and I think it's kind of what you just said. I don't think he supports other Kentucky shows.
He doesn't. And it's obvious that he doesn't. So I'll give you an example. ARC 360, AJ Stewart and Perry took over on last Wednesday.
Yes.
I did a show on their podcast 2 weeks ago. AJ texts me and says, hey, KSR just asked me to do their takeover on Wednesday. I want you to come on with me and help me. get through the show. Well, and listen, I don't know if he specifically asked if I could come on. He told me he wanted me on. The Monday came around before the show, and he said that they specifically just wanted ARC 360 and their guys only, and they didn't. And I don't know if he asked if
I would
me
say
in particular, but
I would
that
say
idea
that
was shut down.
Matt Jones probably had to approve
Right.
anything and everything because Matt likes control. He
Full
wants to be in control of everything.
And I get it. That's fair. It's his
It's
show.
his baby.
It's his brand.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But
yeah, that's my whole issue with, and I like Matt. I mean, I don't think he's always the most knowledgeable sports fan, but he draws you in. I listen every day. I've not missed a show for I don't know how long. I mean, here and there. I usually listen on podcasts though. But real quick, answer the question on the screen here. Can you see that?
ask him about how legit the info, Pope visiting.
Somebody
What?
said this kid Elijah called into your show and said he had sources that said that Pope,
Yeah.
Williams, and somebody else visited Costa Rica
It
today.
was a Zoom call today.
So they had a Zoom call with
It
him,
was a Zoom call
Okay.
today.
which that's
Elijah.
contact. I'll take that.
Yep.
I mean, and I couldn't find Elijah anywhere on social media, so I don't. I mean, I
The
have to look
word
for him.
is European agents don't allow their players to go on physical visits.
And why would that be? I mean,
They want the decision to be made truly based on the situation, and for the well-being of the player, rather than the geographic location and the brand of the school specifically. And that's a word from Elijah. And I'm not saying he's wrong. Think about it. I don't know how many visits we've had from international players. You never see it being announced. So
no, and I'm trying to think.
makes sense of it.
Yeah,
Makes sense of it now.
yeah,
He wouldn't. I don't think that he would come on my show and give off something that's incorrect. So, to my knowledge, it is.
And that's what I told the people on the show. I was like, look, I have no reason not to believe him. No reason whatsoever not to believe him that the UK met with him. And apparently, I think when he said met or meeting, they probably assumed it was in person.
Well, he said, I mean, he verbally said on my show that it was a Zoom meeting.
Well, but how do you feel like that's going to go? You feel like UCLA, or do you feel like it's 50-50?
I think nobody really knows. I think
That's
I think that meetings have been held. I think that counter offers have been made. I think that increase of NIL offers have been adjusted. Absolutely, without a doubt. That's the nature of recruiting in today's world.
Right.
Right. So nobody really knows. I think we know who it comes down to right now, and who can close the hardest at this point. Who does Kentucky have on their roster right now, and who does UCLA have?
I kind of made the statement, and I don't know if it's a fair assessment or not, but I kind of said if you want to kind of go and drift off to mediocrity, go to UCLA. If you want to play all of your games on the national stage, get seen every night, Kentucky could probably offer just as much money as, if not more than.
I mean, to my knowledge, Kentucky has the higher NIL offer.
And that's kind of what Captain Crash just said in here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think to him that number is the decision maker. I think that these European guys want to come in and display their skill level.
Sure.
Because they want to make it to the pros.
Absolutely.
So which program can you come in and display your talent?
Which
can
I
you
think
shine on a national stage and build your brand. And to me, that's Kentucky over UCLA 10 times out of 10 in 2026.
I agree. But do you feel like with Kentucky's roster being kind of deep that,
it could shy him away,
or could hurt the morale of somebody like a Jerome Morton, somebody like a Trent Noah?
Could it piss somebody off? 1,000%. Someone will be pissed off
And that's
if he shows up on campus. But
I mean,
you know what, man? That's part of it. That
I want the best
you
team
can't
we
say
can put
no
on
to
the
somebody
floor
like that.
regardless. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
absolutely.
Right.
But I think we're all right without him. I think we'll still be fine.
We'll be fine.
I definitely like our roster. I definitely feel like, some of the concerns I had with Pope after last year, just depth, feel like he's kind of, we're not going to be stuck without a point guard this year if something happens or
The pieces are there. The shooters are there. For his system in particular, which is reliant on shooters, right? Shooters that in abundance can create on their own, not just set shooters like Colin Chandler.
right.
And I played ball. I was a shooter, high school, college. There's a difference between catch and shoot, design play, catch and put it up, then catch, dribble, step back, hard, and get a shot off.
And that's what I was saying about, when Jerome Morton, I coached against him in high school and when he was at GRC, and it was like he played kind of like he was kind of like a quiet type. Like he put up 20 some, but it was like quiet. He played team ball. If he was being double teamed, he hit the open man. But I saw where at Washington, he shot like 44% off the dribble. That's tough. I mean,
that's absolutely off the dribble shots are way harder. Absolutely, without a doubt. So if you have a roster full of guys who can create their own, we had nobody that could do that. Otega could, but he had to get to the rim. If Otega created and it was a pull up mid ranger, well, it was probably in the mid 20s as far as percentage went.
And that's what concerns me about Otega at the next level. Just his ability to make shots and
absolutely. So yeah. I mean. Go ahead.
I feel like I've seen your name before. Are you? I don't know where. I feel like I've seen. Where'd you play high school?
I played at Scott County. I played high school at Scott County.
Well, Scott County back when you played was probably.
We were dynasty back then still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I remember the Scott County days of going to the state tournament every year. And
were you coaching in 2009 and 2010?
I coached girls. I coached at Bracken County girls. We went to the Class A state several years, but
Bracken County. Do you know Jefferson's?
Oh yeah, Todd Jefferson. Yeah,
Todd,
great family, man. Great family.
Saw him this morning.
Really?
Well, he played college with me at Asbury.
Yeah.
But he lives here in Georgetown.
I didn't know. I saw where Macy, his youngest sister, I coached Hannah and Brittany kind of too, but I was more, I think Hannah, I was an assistant coach. Brittany, I may have been assistant coach. Then the year after she graduated, I became head coach and coached Macy. And just to see them all with families now, man, it's just like, I feel like I'm getting older and older.
Right. So I played at Scott County from 2008 to 2010. We made it to the state Final Four my senior year. Got beat by Ballard in the Final Four.
Well, that's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
We scrimmage Scott County girls they have an 8th grade girl. I don't know if she'll end up at Scott County. Their coach got fired, or their girls coach.
Yes.
I like the dude. I don't know anything about. Don't know anything about him as far as personal, whatever, but I really liked him when I talked to him. But they had an 8th grade girl last year get just flat out go. And he was worried about her once she got to high school. Because, if you transfer between your 8th grade and freshman year, there is no sitting out. You're eligible wherever. And he was worried about her. And I don't know if she went somewhere or not.
She might end up at Great Crossing.
Great Crossing. That's what he was afraid of. And
that's the whole – Great Crossing was the end of the Scott County dynasty. And then obviously, Coach Hicks retired, and then – the end of something great. Scott County was, I'm telling you what.
Well, and now they're in the 11th region, right?
Well, they've been in the 11th region since about 04, 05.
Oh, really? So you were in the 11th?
Correct. Yeah.
Damn, you had a gauntlet. Just your 11th region tournament may have been more challenging than the state tournament.
11th region tournament was just as tough as the state tournament.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and it's still like that. Like, there's teams that are mediocre in the 11th that could win 10 or 12 other regions. You know, it's just absolutely
Without
nuts.
a doubt. Yeah,
I mean,
and somehow the 11th region ended up in the same side of the bracket as the 7th region, which is Louisville. My senior year. So semifinals, Scott County, Ballard, which were the two best teams in the state that year.
was probably who'd Ballard have?
Let's see. Ballard had Ian Childs.
Childs. That's who I was thinking of.
Who was the receiver that went to Louisville and played it in the NFL for a while?
Deion Branch?
No. Oh my gosh, what's his name? Super athletic, 6'3", 6'4" ish. He was a sophomore when I was a senior.
Was it Devontae Parker?
Devontae Parker, Ian Childs, Devontae Parker, Keyston Jones.
I didn't realize Devontae Parker was on that team.
He was a sophomore, so he was 2 years behind me. He was 2012. They had a really good team that year. We beat Christian County the game before that to get to the semis. I hit a 3 over Anthony Hickey in the corner of
Christian County. Yeah.
So 2 minutes left or so, I hit a 3 over Anthony Hickey to go up 1 point. State quarterfinals. And as a Kentucky basketball player, right? I mean, it was nostalgic. I mean, a moment that you could never recreate as a player growing up in Kentucky.
Oh, the play on Rupp Arena, of course, you know, we're still one of only like several states that still does the no class. I mean, you know, which Scott County, what, a 5A school? 6A,
Yeah.
5A?
Well, in basketball, there was just single A, and then there was everybody else.
Right. But at state tournament, a single A school could play against a 5 or 6A school, you know.
Well, a single A school won state.
Yep.
Shelby Valley. Shelby Valley beat Ballard in the championship.
Elijah Justice.
We would have beat them, but we ran into Ballard first. So yeah.
They were solid. I go to the state tournament every year. I do remember vaguely, but I knew I've seen your
CJ
name.
Penny. Yep, I played with CJ Penny for 2 years. Me and CJ actually went on spring break together our junior year. If you know CJ Penny to any extent, you know that was pretty crazy.
Of course, Julie is from Anderson County, and she's related to Cutter and Aaron Bowley, so she always comes in and joins us.
Okay.
Go check out BBN Unfiltered, Julie.
Check it out.
Give it a follow. But yeah, did you play with Jordan Gilbert at Asbury?
Jordan Gilbert was my point guard my senior year.
Yeah, he's the
head coach at Mason County now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know him pretty well.
So people may not know he was actually up for the Scott County job 2 years ago.
Is that when he went to
against Sean Woods?
Oh, I hate to hear what happened to him, but
Jordan called me, told me he was in the final 2 for Scott County. I thought he was going to get it. I didn't know he was going to get Sean Woods, which either way, Jordan should have got it.
Well, Sean Woods' name will carry a lot of weight in the state.
No, it doesn't matter. He's never won anything. He can't coach.
Do you know Jimmy Roper?
I don't care what your name is. If you've never won anything and you do stuff like that, you shouldn't be.
There's truth to that. I mean, but I'm just saying though, like, you know,
Jimmy Roper played at Asbury.
You know him?
Jimmy, actually, I do know Jimmy. He was there while I was there. He never actually played. He was never actually active on the roster. Jimmy's an awesome dude. I love him. He never actually got to play on the roster. He was never active, but he lives here in Georgetown. He is I want to say he's a youth pastor at a church here in Georgetown. So I know Jimmy as well. A lot of your fans know some similar people that I do.
Well, I'm sure we have a lot of the same. I'm sure we have a lot of the same ones. You know, I've always tried to tell them to, you know, I want to do a show that's not on the same time as anybody else because I don't want them to lose followers to come to me or me to gain followers or leave them or whatever. I try to pick a time a little bit later. But I definitely like how you all do the call in. I don't know how to do all that yet. I'm literally fairly new. I started this channel about 2 years ago, and I did strictly high school boys basketball stuff, just 10th region stuff.
Right.
And I did it basically for fun because I taught and I coached. And I didn't do a girls podcast because I didn't want it to be a conflict of interest. And then I was getting 300-400 views or whatever, just playing around with it or whatever. And then the next year I did 9th and 10th region because a lot of the 9th region plays a lot of the 10th region schools.
Oh, I know. So I played my freshman and sophomore year at Boone County.
Okay. Well, so I love the guys that coach at Boone County now. I love their boys and girls coach. I know them both. And I feel sorry what's happened to them. I mean, they're almost uncompetitive now. The girls are definitely they struggle, but I know with all the high schools, Ryle, Cooper,
Boone, Connor.
So, I mean,
think about Scott County. You just got Greg Crossing in Scott County now. And Scott County's, nowhere to be seen. And
Scott County, are they good in every, like other sports, or is Greg Crossing kind of taken?
I think they're still good at football. Jim McKee's still the head coach of the football program, I believe. So I think they've still been pretty good at football, but everything else, to my knowledge, that has gone downhill.
They were the elite program.
Oh,
me growing up
across the state. Yeah. I mean, it was a dynasty, 1,000%.
And it's
our starting 5 plus 2 off the bench. We had 6 out of our 7 that played college basketball my senior year.
Well, and I remember, and I don't know what year this was, but I remember Tyler Hicks kissing the floor when he fouled out. I remember that. I mean, I remember things that then when I heard about his passing in the car wreck, I never met the man, but he played the game a way that you could appreciate. I thought he played extremely hard.
Tyler played exactly how Coach Hicks coached.
Yeah, well, right.
If you can put the way Coach Hicks coached into a player, that's how he played. He'd come and play pickup with us, almost every day.
That's an excellent way to put it. Excellent way to put it, because I mean, I don't know. And like I said, never met him, but like as a basketball fan, it just kind of shook me. Kind of makes you, appreciate life a little bit. Like, it's not for granted, but it was still like, I really liked the way he played. I really did.
For sure.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
Yep.
If I can help you in any way possible, I will. I'll promote your show when I tag it on Twitter. Definitely.
Sounds good.
But thanks for coming on. I appreciate you.
No problem. Hey, I'll go ahead and say, we are going to be hosting a mega podcast show sometime toward the middle of July. There's going to be a collection of 15 to 20 Kentucky sports podcasts.
I'll do whatever I can to help you, brother.
That are going to be different personalities, different, opinions. And I want to have, several different guys come in, different shows, and someone that's a platform that's never been created before. So if you'd be interested, just let me know.
Absolutely. And I will do whatever I can to help you. Like I said, I love the fact that Kentucky basketball has got so many voices out there now. We're all not going to agree, but that's what makes it fun in my eyes to be, to have a disagreement civilly,
right.
Not do anything personally, but man, you're great. I'm going to watch your show tonight. So appreciate you, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Yep. You'll be good. Thanks.
Yep. Man. Guys, I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go ahead and finish up. But if you get a chance, go follow Austin's show, subscribe. Whether you agree or disagree with his show, give it a look. Somebody shouldn't be able to tell you if you're going to like it or not. But I appreciate the fact that he come on. I appreciate the fact that he came on at midnight. And defended himself and defended his show. And, I think what he said's right. That we, you're good, man. You're good, keeper. Don't worry about it. But it's not like, not everybody's going to agree on every topic. And, there's going to be times that I have people on this show that I don't agree with, but that don't mean I endorse it. Just because somebody says something on a show doesn't mean that you endorse what they say. If we're having a civil discussion or conversation, by all means, I'll call them out and tell them I disagree with them or whatever. But what Austin said, he's correct. Just because he has Chris Adams on his show, and those of you that think he's negative, there's going to be times you think I'm negative. I hope you don't turn your back on your loyalty to me or him or whatever, because sometimes we're negative. I was negative in early April when the transfer portal wasn't going our way, when we were missing out on every recruit. And I was trying not to be negative, but sometimes my negativity shows. But I can tell you, we have a great community here. I'm okay with people in the chat disagreeing as long as y'all don't get personal and hateful. I think that's part of it. I think Wildcat brings a lot to this show. Peanut brings a lot to this show. Icon, Wildcat, all of you guys that come in here every single day or every single live and comment, all of you all bring something to this show that I appreciate. So don't let a disagreement bother you. It's part of it. I'm not ever going to block somebody because you disagree with me. Only time I want to block is when you enter the chat and starts throwing out racial slurs like somebody did when I had Big Mike on here. So just try to be a little bit more open-minded. We all don't. I'm telling you what, if we all agreed on every single thing that I said or you said in the chat, this would be a boring show. It would be boring. Chris says it right here: constructive negative or destructive negative. And we're all adults here, I would think. I'm hoping that as adults we can kind of learn to agree to disagree. And that's okay. That is okay. But I definitely like all of y'all. I do. I like you all. Some of y'all challenge me, and sometimes I tell you all, like, when John Boy was being negative about Pope this week, I told him, I love John Boy. I love that he comes in every show. I love that he communicates in the chat. But sometimes when something happens, our first immediate response is to react to what happened. And if we react in the moment, be sure to remind everyone to go make fun of Neighbors and Locked on Arkansas. All right, Jim Neighbors, Locked on Arkansas. Go watch his show. He admits that Kentucky is the brand. He admits that he feels like Arkansas needs to play Kentucky twice a year, probably just to be relevant. But I'm going to go watch his show too. I may watch his tomorrow. I'm going to watch BBN Unfiltered tonight. I'm going to check Austin out. I knew that name. I'm pretty familiar with the state of Kentucky in high school basketball, and I'm pretty familiar with him. Hey, listen, and like I said, Peanut, it's okay for you to be upset. It's okay for you to not watch. But that don't mean we have to turn on him or hate him or whatever. But I'll go watch a few. And, but if you all judge me by some of the comments I made or some of the shows I had first off, I'm sure I've not always rubbed everybody the correct way. But I'm here for Kentucky basketball. Somebody said it in the chat that we need to, we're all on the same team here. I definitely think BBN Unfiltered, Austin, and Kyle Tackett have something big brewing over there. That idea of a platform to have a lot of different UK voices on there, that's pretty neat. I don't know a lot of these guys. I'd love to meet all these guys and just sit down and talk. I'd love to have a podcast Kentucky meet night somewhere and we all get together and meet each other and talk and whatever. We're all on the same team here. That don't mean we all have to agree on everything. Listen, man, I get it. I totally get it. I just feel like, you're all doing good things over there, and I think we all want to be a part of this. 100%. I love your idea of the super mega podcast. I love that. I think that's a great idea, and it's something nobody's done before. I think it's something we all can do to, talk UK basketball and bring a lot of hype, I guess, to the state. Hell, I love it. I love the idea. I think it's great. I love creativity, and that seems to be something creative nobody's done before. Hey, that's all right, John. That's all right. It's all right. Icon. My thing is this. I was never anti-Pope. Just because you criticize somebody don't make you anti. I criticize people all the time in the moment. Things aren't going well. Obviously, my criticism hopefully is constructive, but sometimes can be labeled as destructive. But I don't feel like, anytime just because you say something bad about a person doesn't mean that you're that it's anti. There's going to be times this year when I watch Kentucky shows on YouTube that I probably don't agree with what they say. But you know what? There's going to be a lot of times on YouTube, if somebody watches my show, they're not going to agree with what I say. And there's still guys out there right now that still believe that Pope needs to be fired. Listen, Pope, like Austin said, Pope's got all the resources this year. He's got all the fits, all the pieces to the puzzle. A lot of great fits. We'll know a lot more after this year about his coaching ability. But I was really impressed with his first year. I thought he did a lot of great things. I thought he ran the zoom action. I thought he ran a lot of offensive sets, backdoors, things like that. But I'm always going to take up. Listen, the one thing you need to know about me, if it comes down to it, I'm always going to be on the side of the coach. Now, it doesn't mean I won't criticize. Think about it. I'm a coach. I've been in his shoes before. I get blasted on social media on a high school girls basketball game every time we lose. But the people that are blasting me aren't in practice every day. They're not in the huddles. They don't know if the girls, when they went out on the floor, did what I asked them to do or not. Now listen, I'm going to criticize coaches when they need it, but I'm probably going to do it from an objective point of view. Like, I'm not sure what he was thinking. If I was him, this is something I would have done. But I'm never going to be on a fire coach bandwagon because I'm in their shoes every single day. And if I wasn't given chances and opportunities, I wouldn't have coached 20 plus years. I've got 320 plus wins at the high school level. If I wasn't given an opportunity, or if I was fired every time I made a mistake, I wouldn't have 10 wins. I make mistakes every single day. I'm just lucky to have a lot of support behind me. So, when you've been in a coach's shoes and you know the heat they take, it changes the way you think. One day Calipari should be in the rafters at Rupp. He should be. I love that you have a man crush on Pope. Now, I don't want to see a picture of him spooning you. But listen, we need people that love Pope. I love Pope. I want Pope to succeed. I want Pope to have more success here than anybody. I hope he wins 3 straight national titles. But just because you love Pope doesn't mean that you can't say something positive about Calipari. The Calipari era is done at Kentucky. You can acknowledge the fact that Calipari got a lot of talent. He did win a national title, but all of you all seem to want to throw in, well, if he had that much talent, he probably should have won 4 national titles. You know what? It's not easy to win a title in anything. I've been fortunate. I've won district titles. I've won Class A titles. It's not easy because you know what? There's other teams that are playing for the same one that you're playing for. You're just being facetious now. If you can't recognize the fact that Calipari changed Kentucky at a time when we needed it after Billy Clyde, I bet if I go back and look somewhere or another, Peanut Butter Posse was jumping up and down cheering for Calipari in 2012. Yeah, I'm not an Arkansas fan. I hope they lose every game. I do. But I'm going to acknowledge the fact that Calipari did a lot of great things while being at Kentucky. But it's also fine to say that Calipari's last 5 years at Kentucky were sub-average. It's also fine to say that. You know what I'm saying? Paxton, thanks for donating the 5 gifts, 5 gift memberships. I appreciate that. Please have your memberships, or if you don't know how to do it, please Google how to accept memberships. If he's given 5 away, I appreciate him a lot for doing that. But make sure you have on your to accept memberships. I'm not going to agree with that. There's no way that Kentucky was an embarrassment under Cal more than what Billy G did. I will not agree with that, no matter what your argument is. Now, this is 100% true. This is 100% true. Just like when Tubby left, it was time for somebody new. Calipari knew, and if you remember, because we've talked about this, his press conference on day 1, he said Kentucky was about a 10-year job. The only mistake Cal made was he didn't leave after 10. He left after 15, and those last 5 years were subpar. And it's okay to say that. But why did the pressure get to him? Because he had to, he didn't have all of his players. He had some injuries. But what I'm saying is, it's okay to see both sides of something. Now, I don't want you riding the fence on a decision. I'm a Kentucky fan. I'm a Pope fan. I want Pope to succeed. But I can also say that Calipari's last 5 years weren't good, but his first 10 were great. Calipari deserves to be in the rafters at Rupp, but it'll be after he retires. I wouldn't do it before then. I wouldn't do it on a day that, like they did Tubby, they brought High Point back, kind of recognized him. I'm not saying we do that. I get it. That probably wasn't the best thing to say, but do you say everything right? Have you, and I'm not talking just to Peanut, I'm talking to the general masses. What's wrong with forgiving, or, sometimes out of anger, sometimes out of frustration, sometimes we say things we don't mean. You know what bothered me more than that, Peanut? You know what bothered me more than this? What bothered me more than this was when he would refuse to come out for post-game shows and he'd send an assistant. As much money as he's making, you can afford to take a few questions on criticism. I agree with that 100%. 100%. No point in time should the head coach ever duck the media. I don't care what the reason is. It's not your assistant's job. Go out there and face the music. I don't even know if I'll say he didn't care. It's hard for me to argue against that because I know what it looked like. But I also know this. As a coach, as a player, you have a competitive nature about you that's probably unmatched. When you lose a game like that against a team you shouldn't lose to, you really don't know what's going on. You really don't. I lost a game in the first round of the district tournament one year after beating a team by 30 in the regular season. Luckily, in high school, we don't have – now, I did have to talk to the radio. They interviewed me, but we don't have a press conference where you sit at a table and everybody fires darts at you. But, I felt like I didn't know what to say. I had all these thoughts going through my mind. I felt bad for the seniors that just played their last game that didn't make the regional tournament. I felt bad for, a lot. And I didn't really know what to say or do. And I may, if he didn't give me about 10 or 15 minutes to kind of collect my thoughts, I don't know what I would have said or what kind of words I would have fired out that could have been damaging to my team, me, whatever. Appreciate you, Jake. Paxton also gifted 5. I appreciate you guys. But if you would, turn on accept gift membership so you know, and that some of you, he's giving you a membership is basically what's happening. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate you. But I can also see this side too. I could see where some people would think that Calipari's ego made it about him. And I know when I say this, I know you're talking about being the coach of Kentucky, but look what all that man did for the state of Kentucky. Flood victims, earthquake victims. Remember when Mayfield had all those weather issues? The guy ran, the guy donated money, time, and I think it was obvious he cared about the state. Now, granted, he has the money to give, and it makes it a little bit easier to give that money when you have it, but he still did it. He still did it. Now, am I saying that Pope wouldn't do that? Absolutely not. I think Mark Pope would be on the front lines with Leanne and his 3 daughters. I think there's something about the Bluegrass that when you become the head coach here, you're probably one of the most visible faces in the state. And I can tell you this, there's more people in the state of Kentucky that knew John Calipari than they knew the governor. No questions asked. I'm not telling you have to like him, Peanut. What I am saying is you're being irrational if you won't acknowledge the success he had at Kentucky. Now, he's on my public enemy list. Remember, I've got 3 public enemies right now. Pat Kelsey, just because he's the coach of Louisville. And I want him to spell his last name Kellessey so he can hold these L's we're going to give him. I'm not a big fan of Rob Wright III right now. Rob Wright III, for the way he came out and just blatantly talked about using Kentucky for more money. And Dusty May's on my list right now just because he did some negative recruiting against Pope and Kentucky. And that's okay. So, and I've heard a lot of people say that. But regardless, he won a national championship here. And I know a lot of people didn't like the one and done. I don't like the fact how he kind of dismissed SEC tournaments. And I think that was all an excuse for when his teams didn't perform well in the SEC tournament. He could say, well, it don't really matter. Don't mean a whole lot anyhow. And honestly, the SEC tournament, I think he proved multiple times that it doesn't really affect your seeding. I remember one year when Kentucky was on like the 4 line or something and won the SEC tournament, and they stayed on the 4 line, and the runner-up, whoever it was, jumped up a line. So I think his point when not caring was it doesn't affect our seed in the NCAA tournament. Why care? However, I'm not saying that was the right approach to take because we care about every game here in the Bluegrass. We care about every single game. We want to go 40-0 every year. He's won the SEC. And yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying he didn't try to win. I'm just saying I think he said that he didn't care about it in case they lost because it didn't really affect their seeding. I think he did early on. But I think later, I think you're right, later in his career. And a lot of people say the lifetime contract did that. I don't know if it started happening before that or not. I'm not so sure. I did think some sort of content and lazy came involved, but I also think, players knew they could come to Cal and they were going to go to the NBA. Go look at that list that's floating around Twitter right now about the number of first-round picks Kentucky's had compared to everybody else. Stoops lost support from the fans in schools. Sucks how that's the nature of the coach. They ride with you when things are going well. Somebody's got to take the fall when things aren't going well. And it's, like I said, players win every game, coaches lose every game. And that's just the nature of it. And when I approach the media, that's exactly what I try to do. Praise the players. And if we lose, it's all on me. Like I told Peanut, I think that's fair. I don't really have a counter argument. Appreciate you. And maybe it's not right, maybe it's not fair, maybe it's not, but I just feel like we go a lot farther positivity and being together than to bash our coach after every game we lose. Every game we lost last year, I don't know how many times I heard the phrase outcoached. But let me just give you a little heads up on that. When coaches go into a game, they have a game planned in mind. They've worked on it at practice. They've saw what worked, what didn't. They've made adjustments. When they go into that game, if their game plan works, they look like the best coach in the world. If the game plan doesn't work, then it looks like they got outcoached. But here's the one thing I think Mark Pope's proven he can do. I think he makes great adjustments at halftime. I think he's not afraid to change. And sometimes I think Calipari was stubborn and wouldn't change. Pope, how many times last year, LSU, Gonzaga, we were down 18 points or so at the half and we're able to come back and win. So I think he's done everything we've asked him to do as a coach. Now, his substitution patterns drive me crazy. They do. I don't understand them sometimes. But he knows his team better than I do. I'm just a fan. I definitely think this year will tell a lot. Now, going into the season, it'll be hard to say middle of the year if we have some unfortunate things happen that have happened in the past. But that's a fair take. Just like, they've said at Louisville, they feel like they've given Kelsey a lot of money and a lot of resources. If he doesn't win this year or have a good season, then he may not be the man for the job. All right, Peanut, let's hear it. I'm open to hear it. I'm open for discussion. I was going to bed 30 minutes ago, but y'all have got me fired up now. Yeah, I agree with that too. If he goes to any other conference, but I'd like to see a list of what jobs were open the year he left. And it was going to be hard to pass up Arkansas because, as you know, they had the Dino Nuggy guy, the chicken guy down there. And they were going to give a lot of money. And I think Arkansas had a lot of money for resources too. And Cal likes that. When you have 3 or 4 first-round picks, they don't make hustle plays. They play tentatively, avoiding injury. Definitely think some players tend to be more prima donnas to where the hustle plays aren't as attractive. But I also think NBA coaches also like that hustle. That I know when I go watch a game as a high school coach, if a player plays extremely hard, it sticks out to me. It sticks out. So I do think there were times that we had players who weren't playing hard. But I just still try to stand behind the coach. But the thing but Peanut, this is, it's never going to be like it used to be. It used to be where the majority of the roster was made up of Kentucky kids that took a lot of pride putting on the jersey, took a lot of pride in representing their state, representing the university, playing for their home school, home state, whatever. But here's the thing. Trent Noah has a different sense of pride putting on that jersey than what Zoom Diallo has. Why? Because Trent grew up in the state of Kentucky. Trent knows the history. Trent knows the tradition. Trent knows that we're the gold standard of college basketball. These other guys, and I'm not going to say, and if you're trying to say that some of these other guys didn't care that they lost, I'm not going to get behind that. I will not get behind that because I don't think that's the case. Now, if you want to say that, that's fine. I'm never going to stop you for voicing your opinion, but I can also tell you that I'm a firm believer that those guys. I mean, do you remember De'Aaron Fox, Bam Adebayo, Malik Monk after was it Luke May hit that shot? Do you remember? Did you see what they were doing in their locker room? I think they were all three crying. I think they were in tears. And some people do a little differently. But I don't think you get to the Division I level without that competitive fire. Some guys will. Some guys will. Some guys won't, no matter what you do. Some guys won't take a charge no matter what. But you know what? There's some guys who won't take a charge that are still in the NBA. And I don't think you have to dive 3 rows deep, knock popcorn out of somebody's hands to look like you're playing hard. Playing hard to me would be setting hard screens, bumping cutters, getting tough rebounds. I agree, diving on the floor, loose ball is a hustle play, is a tough play. But not everybody's going to do that. And now, should they? Sure. But some people's personality on the floor is a lot different than others. And I just don't. I get your argument. I do. But I'm not going to get behind those guys playing at Kentucky at the Division I level, not playing hard. Do you know Midway coach? Coach, is it Akeem Scott from Montgomery County? Akeem Scott? Is that who you're talking about at Midway? That is, yeah, that I agree with that. I agree. You know, in high school, some of these kids didn't have to dive on floor after loose balls because they were uber talented or because they were, the high school level, there's such a disparity or discrepancy in talent. But once you get to the Division I level, the talent levels pretty much, you can tell there's a lot more parity now since the transfer portal. A lot more parity. But I do agree that I always say this, Peanut. I tell what beats talent? Or no, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That's what I tell my hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Listen, Akeem Scott, he's smooth talker. He's a smooth talker. When he coached at KCU several years ago, I had a stud at Robertson County that was Mr. Basketball candidate. Averaged about 30 a game in high school on, really good high school player. And he tried to get on him early and tried to recruit him. End up going to Thomas More, but yeah, I like Akeem. He's running for some kind of political office, probably judge exec or something. We got 24 candidates running for judge exec in Bratton County, where I'm at. I coach at Pendleton County, but I live in Bratton County. We got tons and tons and tons of judge exec seems to be the popular judge executive seems to be a popular. They actually have a little bit more power than the mayor, I believe. That's just what somebody's told me that that's kind of what somebody's told me. I don't know if that'd be 100% true or not, but All right. Anybody got anything else to say? It's 1 o'clock. You all got me fired up. Yeah, he's a nice guy. I could see why he was a good recruiter. He liked to sell his he was very good at selling himself and his program. Peanut, I'm here for it. You're going to be the last one I listen to because I know it's going to be something facetious. Let's hear it, Peanut. You've kept me on here for 3 hours tonight. No, you only got here about 10:30, but stop. You don't have to, but I'm going to. I'm going to listen, whether you like it or not. All right, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Definitely want to say a shout out to Austin Flannery from BBN Unfiltered. Please go check out their podcast. Decide for yourself. Follow them. Subscribe. BBN Unfiltered also on I think it's BBN_Unfiltered on all the social media. So go give them a follow. And I'll be back soon. Stay tuned and stay hot.